Welcome in Monday. Hope you had a great weekend, everybody. Nice to have you aboard on a day we had 304 new cases of COVID, and the testing percentage now up to positivity rate 18%. But good news, the hospitalization down about 1%. Plenty of availabilities if we need to. Maybe things will calm down here. We got a new number one in the world over the weekend in golf. It is Jon Rahm, and the first thing he did after he got sort of exploited, we'll talk about that, about a moving ball, but he committed to the WGC. 901 FC tied this weekend. And here's the big news that just occurred a little while ago. The state of California has decided their high school fall sports, including football and girls soccer, will be delayed until December. How that will affect people, we'll have to see, including recruiting, including some kids who may leave after the fall semester is over if they are ahead enough in grades and have taken online courses the way you can now, and some may just skip their entire senior high school football season and just go in the wintertime to the college of their choice, the TSSAA. Still unclear yet as to what they will do. And the NFL is now offering up. They'll play one preseason game if the players will agree to that. We got a great show for you coming your way. 3:30, Ted Butler will join us, and we got plenty to talk about with him. College football and basketball on the docket with David Cobb. We're going to go over the top 25 in Lindy's and Phil Steele now out. Pete Pranica, voice of the Grizzlies, who will be going to work this week on the scrimmages. He'll join us at 5 o'clock. He was on the call when 901 FC actually tied. And, a year ago, they lost games in extra time, in stoppage. Guess what? They tied a game with a rookie at forward in stoppage. So maybe the 901 is about to change their fates. Again, they did not look great this week, but they did end up tying, and so they finally got points to start this USL campaign, their second one in Memphis. My friend Brett Norsworthy coming to us from the avenues of the Americas in Forest City. How was your weekend, my friend?
It was fantastic, Dave. Good Monday to you. And away we go with another week and a lot of numbers, a lot of graphs, a lot of charts, and a lot of things, some things to be positive about, but still a lot of negativity. And the negativity is out there in the positivity, in the positive test. I mean, that is the irony that it is intended to be met with. But here we are, 40 days out from the scheduled start to college football. Almost nobody believes any of those week zero games on Saturday, August 29th will be played. In fact, I think this week will be the official, those games won't be played, week of announcements. But you mentioned California and them with high school football moving to a spring sport. And it's already happened, according to some, arguably the number one ranked player in the state of California, Texas A&M commit. Right. 5 stars already said, I'm out of here. I'm going to report early. I'm done with high school football. The very best will do that. You would see the very same thing happen if we did it here, and you'll see the same thing happen if we try to have FBS college football in the springtime. One thing from the weekend that I really don't like, and it's mostly led, and I don't know him, but I like reading him. I don't know him at all. I've never had him on our show. I don't know him at all. I can't be any more clear that I don't know Matt Hayes at all, but I like reading him, and he is big on everything below the Power 5 permanently going to a spring sport and having their own playoffs and their own bowls and kind of their own agenda, and not just because it's the University of Memphis, not just because of that, but that's one of the bigger reasons. The Tigers have never been in that group. They never were 1AA. They were never they've always played. Most of my life, and since about the mid-'50s, they've always played at the very highest, whether it was outsider looking in at the conference they were in, and a lot of times that was the case. But that movement is really gaining ground this weekend. We'll talk to David Cobb about that, and and I may lose my mind over the John Rahm decision. I may lose my mind. Drew, be very, very close to the dump button. Golf, why do you have to do this? Why do you have to do this? And what is the number to call?
Well, here's my sense of it. While it was happening, you can ask my wife this for verification. While it was happening, I said, whoa, that ball moved. It moved. And I don't agree with Ian Baker Finch. I do think that ball moved slightly to give him, and by no means do I think this was intentional, okay? But I do think it moved slightly that gave him a little more favorable lie on the shot on 16 that he ends up making a birdie, which ends up actually being a bogey but doesn't come into play. But if your point is this, it is a well-taken point, and it was discussed on the broadcast too. If they don't have HD TV and they don't have long lenses where they can see everything like that,
and watching the leaders every movement,
who in the world would have possibly known that? But I will confess to you, while it occurred, I said that ball moved. He doesn't know it, though. I don't even think he was looking. He was just sort of like feeling what the rough was like. So he didn't cheat by any means. And when he was interviewed afterwards, like his eyes got really big, and he thought it was only a one penalty, a one-stroke penalty. It was a two-stroke penalty. It wasn't going to make any difference. Although at the time, let's say Ryan Palmer had birdied, and he knew that. Now you're talking about that thing's down to 2 strokes, and the last 2 holes might have been different.
With that rough and that tough, that as tough as that course played, how do we know all weekend on shots that weren't as lasered in on by TV, the front runners, but who knows how many other ones move like that during the course of weekend golf? Just why do you have to be so tedious with that? Why do we have to know who in the hell Slugger White is?
Well, here's the thing. Once that was on TV, you know they got a bunch of people who know the rules that called. You know that's what prompted it.
Who do you call? Would you give me that number? Seriously, please.
I don't know.
You know a lot of people.
I don't know.
You're an influential member. And just on the ready on a Sunday afternoon, do they have it stored in their phone like I have, like you and Drew's number? I'm calling the rules official right now.
I have no idea.
Little Billy Bad rear end guy that I am, and I'm going to turn him in. Well, I can't stand those people. I cannot stand them.
Somebody might have called Channel 3. Who knows? I am. So your contention is that if you see a rule being broken, and the biggest one that I remember, this is really before there was HDTV, was when the Walrus. Give me his name. I forget.
Craig Stadler.
When the Walrus was at Pebble Beach.
On the towel.
And he used the towel so he wouldn't stain his pants with his knees because he had to get on his knees to take a shot.
I know, and that just ended time, didn't it?
They called that creating a lie.
I know.
And
that was just the desecration of the Holy Sepulchre, wasn't it?
I know. But so your contention is, I just want to be clear on it, and I'm not saying you're wrong. I really am not. But your contention is if we see something like that, the naked eye would never have seen it. The guy didn't know. Just ignore it.
Mostly, yeah.
Yeah. Right. And I'm not saying that's not wrong. Because, honestly, if we didn't have that lens and HD TV, that thing never gets picked up. My only thing is this. If you do see it and you know it's a rule that's been broken, it's hard to ignore. And it's like I said it when it occurred. I go, woo. That ball moved, and he caused it to move.
I thought one of Tony Finau's moved, but I mean, is it the end of time? Now, if it's with some intent, if you think it's an egregious violation of him trying to gain an advantage, as Patrick Reed has been accused of,
right?
And there was no, but with that kind of rough and everything falling to the bottom, and with it a little bit juicy after the rain, how do we know others didn't? And if they did, well, I mean, is that millisecond, millimeter? Is it that important? I know it's a game of rules. I know it's a game of honor, but the tediousness of it with golf is just. It's a good way to make a lot of people go, I don't really need to mess with this. Y'all think way too highly of yourself.
I can say unequivocally, based on, I don't even know if he was looking at the ball when he was trying to place that club, just so he got a sense of how deep the rough was.
But you saw it real time. That's a good catch. You saw it real, not the first replay.
No.
You saw it real time.
Oh no,
okay.
I saw it as they were playing. I said to,
I
said to Gail, I said, that ball moved. I don't know, even if she was in the kitchen. I said, that ball moved.
So, Dave, you're talking to yourself now,
I might be. I can tell you this.
That's a sign of something.
When Jordan Spieth just nonchalantly.
Tell me, did you break 82 and a half Saturday at Miramichi?
I did. Can I tell you this? I did.
Drew, did you?
Did I break 82 and a half? No, I didn't. I shot an 87.
I hate to say this, but you're a loser again. I had a bad front nine, too. You know, normally I score better on the front than I do the back. I happened to shoot a 37 on the back. So, I'm sorry, Brett. I think you now owe me, is that a third steak dinner?
I don't think we had it. I think it was cold bologna is what we had on that one Saturday.
I'm looking forward to.
With the heels of the bread loaf. Not even in between.
I'm looking forward to at 4:30 talking about these top 25s.
I am too, and again, I want to preface it, not because of where the Tigers are ranked, but I think the Lindy's top 25 is more accurate to where I am, if for no other reason.
Interesting, cause
Texas A&M number 5.
Can I tell you?
Texas 12. Texas. We going to do that again this summer?
How about this? Phil Steele has 8
Texas.
SEC teams in the top 25. Lindy's has only 6. So Lindy's really distributes this out a little bit better. Lindy's has 6 SEC in this top 25. 6 SEC.
He's got, and now one area of discord I have with Lindy's, he's got Auburn 12 and Minnesota 18. I saw them play at the end of last year.
Right.
And that's the last thing we got to work with.
Right. Well, but that's, you can't do that because you have to go with what they lost and what's coming in. That's how you project these things for this next year.
6 apart? That big a spread apart? USC? What's the love of USC?
You know what?
All those returning starters, I get it.
USC is in every one of these preseason top 25s. So 6.
And Phil Steele with the U? Doesn't he know? Does anybody let Phil Steele know it's over at the U? It's over.
6 SEC, 6 Big Ten, as opposed to 8 and 5.
Remember we had about 3 or 4 U fans in this listening audience?
Oh, yeah.
What happened to those people?
I don't know.
What happened to classic front runners? They didn't like any of the local SEC teams. Tigers were scuffling at that time, so I'm going to be a U fan. I hadn't heard from them in about 15 years.
There you go. Lindy's and Phil Steele are really big-time different. They are. Phil Steele's got 5 ACC and Lindy's has 3. Both. Now look, Lindy and Steele have 2 American in there.
It was a good year last year, and a lot of starters back, and a really good quarterback back. But I don't know that I get the summertime love, and we're not having the summertime love like we normally would have had summertime love because of we probably really aren't playing. But I don't get it with North Carolina. Where they both agree is at the top, and it's really hard to argue with their top 4s and 5s, except for TAMU, Texas A&M.
You just think Texas A&M is way overrated.
Way overrated. Mm-hmm. Way overrated. I got to see it get done. I got to see it get done at Texas A&M by somebody. Well, I've been waiting about 40 years.
Well, that is a huge discrepancy between Steele and Lindy.
I mean, you did their basketball games when I was waiting.
A&M 5 in Steele and 16 in Lindy. So that is quite the difference.
We'll save it for 4:30, but I'm looking forward to doing that too. And because we hadn't, Dave, we hadn't had the summertime run up like we would normally really have started launching last week. With Media Day and Media Days, and now everything, even Media Days virtual, being shut down.
But by the way, the contention of, other than this year, of moving the group of five to being a spring sport, which I guess the case can be made they would get a little bit more television exposure. But I think the AAF and the XFL have proved there is a shelf life and that you need a rest from football. And I don't think it would be a good thing at all. Not
And
at all.
again, I don't know Matt Hayes, and I like reading. We will talk with David. We'll ask David about that because I would bet David does know him, and I simply disagree with the man. I'm not trying to impugn anyone because I don't know him, and what I know of him and have heard about him I like, but I wholeheartedly disagree with this, and I disagree. If we don't play, and it doesn't look great for college football in something resembling the traditional months, maybe even October, November, December, and well into January, then at that point I think we would just have to bow up and across the board take the hit. We didn't have football in 2020 because I just don't know how you ask someone to report to camp February 1 for the entire month of February, especially in a lot of places weather-wise, then play all of March, all of April, all of May, and then some bowl games into June, and then say, hey, we see y'all back again here August 1st, and with a straight face, we're trying to talk about player safety.
Well, what if we vary that? What if, and then remember, everything in any college leader that I have heard is always using the caveat that we are fluid. And I love that Laird Veach used that analogy the other day of floodgates. And you go from one to the second floodgate to the third floodgate, and you got a plan for each floodgate. But what if in the next 6 weeks, social distancing, wearing of masks, which is getting more and more mandated and more people are following the rules. What if cases come down? We've got the promise. By the way, we're going to add another vaccine today. I'll give you the total in a second. And we've got 2 vaccines or treatments that are getting closer and closer to at least people talking about mass producing them. If that is the case, and let's just say we move this thing and we say, you know what, we're going to start in December. And we play December, January, and February, and we play bowl games in March. I mean, that would make, at least for some time, bodies to recover. And
so your end date would be,
I guess, March, some point in March.
25th.
You skip spring practice altogether, and you come back in the fall to start the regular season.
I'm amenable to that. I think that would be probably more workable, but the whole, are they back in school yet? It is really hard to figure out. This hour brought to you every day by Lexus of Memphis, 2600 Ridgeway, and online at lexusofmemphis.com. Call them at 901-362-8833. Lexus of Memphis offering the Golden Opportunity July Summer Sizzler Sales Event. It's the Steve Selby smoker out there today for sure. Great offers on all 2020 models and always special lease options. If you ever thought I'd look great in a Lexus, well, guess what? Lexus of Memphis thinks you would look outstanding in one of their beautiful cars, and they'll make sure they do that for you today, and you'll leave with the air conditioning running on full tilt, driving luxury and confidence, knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Stop by Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and put yourself in the driver's seat of an all-new 2020 flagship LS500, and you'll be looking and driving in style. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design, and they make for the luxury driving experience. 901-362-8833, online at lexusofmemphis.com. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
Well, we go to the coronavirus dashboard. On a whole, 304 new cases, which is way down from yesterday. In Shelby County, 3 new fatalities. We had 1,678 tests in the last 24 hours. And what scares you here is the positivity rate at 18%. Now we've had over, in Shelby County since they began, 175,000 tests. The overall positivity is almost half of what we had yesterday. It is at 9.6%. The good news, acute and ICU beds, utilization down 1%. There are plenty of beds available, and that doesn't even count the old commercial appeal building on Union Avenue.
Dave, do you know if is it ready immediately? Like if we had the surge today,
yes.
Could we start checking patients? Oh, it is.
I'm almost certain that is the case.
Good.
And also
we wouldn't need another 2 weeks run up to really get it ready.
And I'm also told that will be in place. That
for anything, for any
hospitalization is there for the next 2.5 years. And I believe the University of Tennessee Health Sciences, the
That's great.
medical school,
we could have a tornado and need it. We could have an earthquake and need it.
And they're going to use it as a practice hospital. So
good. That's great.
Yeah.
That's money well spent, I say.
So
I'm sorry.
We have 16,767 cases now total, 244 fatalities since this all began. We also learned kids, because we have said, now this has nothing to do with fatalities, but there was a time that I thought kids under 20 really couldn't spread the disease. And they do find from 1 to 10 that most likely those young children, and this could be really important for those that are getting ready to send their kids back to school. 0 to 10, they're pretty safe. They don't usually spread the disease. 10 to 19, though, they can spread disease like adults. So high school kids can clearly send it. We learned over the weekend that Jack and Barbara Nicholas early on got the COVID. Barbara was asymptomatic.
And beat it.
Jack had the sniffles. He didn't have
at
it
80.
And at 80, they beat it. Today, we learned the Bahamas are going to be closed to the USA tourists for the moment, which means if that was still held in policy in a couple of months from now, you'd have to wonder if the Battle of Atlantis, where Memphis is scheduled to play, would be able to be held. And the governor of the state of New York today said to the New York Giants and the New York Jets, they will not be allowed to have fans, at least at this moment. In the United States, we're almost at 4 million cases, 143,000 fatalities, 1,800,000 recoveries. In Tennessee, 78,000 cases, 843 fatalities. Mississippi, which is up 1,200 over the last 24 hours, about 44,000 now, with 1,358 who have perished. In Arkansas, 33,228 with 357 fatalities. Across the world now, over 14.75 million cases, 611,000 have perished. We have had 8.5 million recoveries, and we added another new vaccine. There are 155 vaccines being worked on right now.
Got to be one in there somewhere, doesn't it?
Got to be. I think we got 2. I really do.
Got to be one in there somewhere. My top story, NFL at a standoff. The players want 0 preseason games. The owners want 1. If you think it ends there, then you're badly mistaken. Players know now's their time to seize, to throw, pardon me, well, pardon the pun, to throw deep in the name of, and I think sincerely, health and safety, but also it's very rare that they get the owners a little bit over the barrel, and it's very rare for DeMaurice Smith ever to put a win on the board against them. He's 0 for life against the owners. They might get a little bit of a victory here, but in the end, there's only one place in the world to play football for that kind of money, and it's the NFL.
Not top story of the day.
Well, this is poor Kirk Ferentz and the University of Iowa. We now learned today Kirk Ferentz was aware that there were racial problems within his program in 2018. In 2019, he had a report that told him point blank. He said he would change the culture. Apparently, in those 2 years, he did not change the culture. I think that there is a big problem for Kirk Ferentz and his program at the University of Iowa.
My not top story, good for Will Barton. In a very candid interview, he said he's not wearing any hashtag, any messages, any of that stuff. And here was his quote. At this point, it's not going to do anything. I don't want to cheat my people like that. End of quote. He's basically saying the hashtags and the T-shirts, they're great for symbolism, but they aren't doing anything. Show me, don't tell me. Here's my hashtag. Hashtag Twitter it in real life.
My hashtag to that is This Is America. You can put your message out there, or you can put you don't think the message really means anything unless there's action, or you can put I don't have a message. Any way you want to do it. And that's why I personally love our country. Everybody can go about in an orderly, respectful way of saying what they think is the right way. Those are your top and your not top stories. Our crack producer, Drew Barrett, lets us know the way people report rule violations in the PGA is to contact either the PGA headquarters or the tournament itself. And apparently, he says it's not hard to find those numbers.
Found the numbers about 2 minutes.
Who's the switchboard operator at them? I mean, you get Miss Jones? I mean, who
I
do
mean,
you get
I haven't called the numbers yet, but I have them up. I mean, you can find the PGA headquarters number at PGAtour.com.
I want the numbers at my ready for this weekend, and I want to call all weekend. Just checking in. So if I see anything wrong, I'll call back.
I'll text you the numbers.
Okay, thank you.
There you go. John Rahm, by the way.
Bogus.
This the second Spaniard ever to be number one. His hero, Seve Ballesteros, was number one in the world for like 61 weeks. How long will John Rahm hold that moniker? We'll find out, talk about it, and the rules, and the move of the ball, and everything else with HDTV when our pro, Ted Butler, joins us in just a minute.
Want to get your voice heard? Hit us up on the First Bank phone line or First Bank text line.
Gateway Tire and Service Center has a beautiful new state-of-the-art location at 5275 Summer Avenue. And for July, the new location on Summer has a great special. Buy 3 tires and get the 4th at no charge. Visit the new Gateway Tire and Service Center with 28 bays for quick service, super safe with curbside service or lounge seating 6 feet apart. Check out GatewayTireandService.com for coupons too. The new Gateway Tire and Service Center, 5275 Summer Avenue. Call Matt for details, 901-683-8335.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. Working on an oil change? We can help you get started. Right now, you can get 5 quarts of Mobil 1 synthetic high-mileage motor oil and an STP extended life oil filter for just $31.99. And if you need it fast, you can get it fast your way. Whether it's next-day delivery or free same-day pickup, in-store or curbside, the choice is yours. Getting your job done just got easier. Restrictions and details at AutoZone.com.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
You'll see the dedication in every single step. You'll see it in the smiles when smiles are hard to get. You'll see it in the little things that add up to success. The caring and passion are the things that we love best.
Wolf Chase Limb Brace is your Mid-South provider for orthotics and prosthetics. They are an ABC accredited facility and their practitioners are ABC certified. At Wolf Chase Limb Brace, their services include artificial limbs, legs and arms, braces of all kinds, and custom molded inserts. You can call them today at 901-507-7821 for their location on Highway 64 in between Germantown Parkway and Appling Road, or visit them at their new location in Jackson, Tennessee. That number is 731-660-5900, or visit them on the web at wolfchaselemonbrace.com.
Dedicated our life to yours. Wolf Chase Limb and Brace.
Frontier Western Store is open and ready to serve you for all your needs in boots, apparel, pet food, and more. Frontier is proud to be a local leader here in the Mid-South when it comes to boots. Stop by the store today for an incredible selection of name brand work and dress boots. Come browse aisles and aisles of top quality boots at everyday low prices in our world famous boot showroom. Dan Post, Rocky, Durango, Twisted X, Georgia, Ariat, and many more. There are so many styles, colors, and fits available, you might need a hand picking out your favorites. Luckily, Frontier's knowledgeable sales staff will cheerfully assist you with any questions you have and ensure the proper fit of your new boots. Frontier also has an amazing selection of jeans and shirts by Wrangler, Ariat, and Carhartt, as well as a fully stocked women's boutique department with thousands of tops and dresses at unbelievable prices. New arrivals often. Frontier Western Store, 5880 Gilman Road in Olive Branch, and on the web at frontierwesternstore.com. Family owned and operated since 1967.
All 75 months at 3.14 APR, G4, LHF 07822, Outlander LUO 28772, Eclipse LZO 16320. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 59875 excludes tax, title, and license with approved credit. See dealer for details. Offer valid through end of the month. Dealer stock only.
Drive your ambition with a new ride from Gossett Mitsubishi on the Pike. 2020 Mitsubishi Mirage G4, $149 a month with 41 MPG highway, or buy for $12,435. 2020 Mitsubishi Outlander Sport is ready for any adventure at $229 a month, or buy for $18,533. And crossover over to summer in a 2020 Mitsubishi Eclipse Cross. Only $19,147 or $239 per month. And better yet, they're all backed by a stellar 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Mirage G4, $149 a month. Outlander Sport, $229 a month. And Eclipse Cross, $239 a month. Feel safe and confident while shopping at Gossett Mitsubishi, 1870 Covington Pike. Or shop online at memphismitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
Listen Sundays at 11 a.m. to join Idlewild Presbyterian Church for worship. Idlewild is a PCUSA church located in Midtown Memphis.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stacks. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Dave Voloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
We welcome you back into the Family Leisure Studios. Our friend Ted Butler is going to join us here momentarily. He's brought to you in part by the Commissary, Germantown Commissary, Collierville Commissary, wherever you want to go. As long as you're heading east a little bit, you go to that little quaint area in Germantown, curbside service if you want. You can still go in. They're very serious about all of the social distancing and the mask rules. They are really terrific with what they do in that regard, and they'll bring it out to you. You might want to call in advance, give them your credit card number, less exchange that way, and they'll put it right in your car. In Collierville, it's even easier, and there's more room for social spacing if you would like, including a great outdoor patio, but they've got a drive-through there. And 3 times the space. Both menus, though, still the great Germantown Commissary with the deviled eggs, which is tradition, with that great slaw, and I mean it is outstanding. But then let's get those ribs, or let's get that pulled shoulder, or let's get that chicken, or for Brett Norsworthy, let's get that icebox lemon pie. Oh, yeah.
Or the salad, Dave.
Oh, you love that salad, don't you? Yeah. They love the salads. So
and just wash it down with sweet tea. Just pour the sweet tea over your head like a champagne celebration in the locker room.
Or if you don't want the sweet tea, I like it half and half.
Go the half and half.
But you can always
Dave
get
Voloshin, half and half.
Or you can go the unsweet and put little sweet and low in there. Any way you do it, you're a winner if you go to the Germantown Commissary or the Collierville Commissary. So a guy,
Dave, I love your half and half call. That's a tea call I'm starting to make more often as I raise a 100% Coca-Cola to you over the Zoom.
All right.
Big old fat sugary drink, Coca-Cola. It goes straight to my gut, too, when I drink a Coke. Right to the belly button.
You have given up so much. I give you your one vice.
No kidding, Dave. I tell people, if I just wouldn't start all the things I've quit, I would have really been in good shape.
Speaking of calls, somebody takes me to task. Come on, Wallow. If it took HD with a telephoto
you saw what
lens,
you saw. I'm not going to tell somebody I didn't see
slow
something.
much to see the ball move one dimple. By the way, it's 2 dimples. No way you noticed it in real time. Well, here's the deal, my friend. It didn't take slow-mo. The only reason they went back to show you in slow-mo is enough people saw it in real time.
That's
ball
right. I'm not say, if you say you saw it, you're an honest person.
And that is exactly what happened. Let's start there with Ted Butler. What would you have done if you were Slugger White, Ted Butler, with the John Rahm incident yesterday?
Slugger Butler.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I saw it move, too. And I said the same thing you did. I said, he moved the ball. I saw it when it first happened. And I thought, holy cow. And I was watching really close because I was anticipating a chili dip and then a really good tournament finish, where he's going to make bogey or skull it over the green or something. So I was really focused in on what he was doing, and that ball clearly moved.
And I think
you have to call it.
I think it moved into a more very slightly,
there's no
but
question you have to call it.
A more favorable lie.
I just don't like people being able to call 1-800 rat on people line. I mean, whoever called the PGA Tour yesterday, the NBA players don't want them in the bubble. They'll call the cheater line.
Well, if the whole world sees it on TV, you got to call it. I mean, what you're going to say? Well, no, it didn't. Obviously, it did. No question about it. Without the HD,
and John Rahm didn't dispute that it moved. after he saw it on the video. But Ted, here's what, and we're proof of it. I mean, I don't know how long of that first segment we spent on this. I'd say every bit of 10 or 11 minutes. Now we're 4 minutes into it with you on the same thing. And we're talking about this instead of John Rahm being the low man at a brutal golf tournament over the weekend that made the best in the world look like us.
Well, that was a great golf course yesterday. You know, bordering on being a little bit maybe too jacked up, but they couldn't help it, and nobody's going to criticize it because it was, you know, Jack's golf course. But that was real golf. I mean, you had to think everywhere on that thing. I mean, good shots. It was awesome to watch.
Since you said Jack,
Phil Mickelson laid up on a par 3 yesterday, guys.
Crazy.
173-yard par 3. He intentionally hit it 144 and then pulled out the Texas wedge.
But, Brett, he was the only one that did that. Those other players were hitting 9-irons, and even though they did have trouble
he did
holding,
it partially because his rear end was really red and he was mad.
Yeah, I think. Well, let's get back to the statement that Ted just said. Jacked up. I think Jack was so mad, embarrassed, whatever it was, that they ate that course up, and that DeChambeau had those 423-yard drives. That he said,
I do too. He said, "This ain't happening 2 weeks in a row.
This is not going to happen again on my course."
Well, I don't disagree with that. I think that's what I meant by being jacked up. I mean, you put the pins in places you couldn't get to if they were soft, and then the wind started blowing, and I mean, Lord, but. As it turns out, the best player in the world wins the tournament. Yeah, isn't that what things are designed for?
Wins.
Yeah,
that's right.
Clearly, the best player did it.
And we 6 weeks of the tour, 5 weeks of a shooting gallery, 1 week of baring the teeth, and Jack Nicklaus let the rough grow, and he set up the tees to where if you didn't hit it perfect, it was gonna find the rough, and it was gonna go to the bottom. And you're right. Yesterday, the pin setup on the green complexes yesterday. When you got around the green yesterday, you needed a shovel and a croquet mallet.
Well, I can tell you from my own experience at Marion in the U.S. Open that in rough like that, you're really scared to put the club to the grass because it can move anywhere. I mean, it's just the lies are so tenuous. And Ron said he wasn't even looking; he didn't see it. He said I was looking at the hole. I wasn't looking, but you can bet it happened 30 or 40 other times during the week on different people in different places.
Had to have.
I mean, with the wind blowing like that and the rain, there's no way it can't have happened.
Pressure. Mm-hmm.
Let me ask you this. I'm in total agreement with you. Once you saw the ball move, you had to call it. You had to call it. But here's my question. Are we too invasive? Should we not? Like, maybe you get to see with the zoom-in long lens and HD TV where the ball lies. But when the guy goes over it, maybe we need to zoom out so we don't see that.
No, that's like basketball when the ball goes out of bounds. They show from 47 different directions and bounce off somebody's fingernail. I mean, they still keep showing it over and over until they find it.
But they do, Ted. But here's the rub. But you don't have me calling FedEx Forum to the table and getting somebody at the table and going, "Hey, better look at it again. I think you missed it."
Well, maybe the crew themselves saw it. Do we know that somebody called in? I mean, maybe the TV crew themselves saw it.
They said they had called.
Well,
they said they had calls.
I can tell you this: in an NCAA basketball tournament, I watched Jim Nance tell a referee that he needed to go look at the replay on something. I've seen that happen before. So
he sure did.
Well,
and in a pivotal moment too.
It wasn't on purpose, but like Jack Nicklaus has said his whole career, he said, "Whoever said golf was fair."
Yeah.
That's right.
As long as he criticized the golf balls, 42 years, he's been saying the same thing about not being fair golf.
Ted, he has, and I love his very soft, gentlemanly approach about it, and it's basically something that I've always tried to parrot and say too. Whether it's U.S. Open setup or the green speed at the Masters or the fits and starts of the Gorse at the Open Championship, low man wins. Quit whining.
Well, that's right. And I agree with Jack on the golf ball, you know?
Oh, well, that's how many drives were over 350 to 400 yards this week? Even this week, I mean, you had older guys. Jim Furyk hit one like 380 because of the contours.
Think about what you just said. Jim Furyk hit a 380.
Right. I mean,
he's 50.
260 driver.
That just tells you we really do need to change the golf ball. Do you think that will really occur in our lifetime?
I don't know. But even listening to Doug Barron earlier on the station talking about, you know, the balls are so hot now. You know, they don't have the spin, and he's still playing. He said he's longer now than he was when he was 30 years old.
That's crazy.
And it is happening. It's just the way it is. So something's got to. I don't know. They can't make bigger golf courses to run out of room.
Ted, are you longer now? Do you hit a driver further than you did 25 years ago?
Sometimes if I hit it really solid, it was.
Dave, you do. You can step on one now like you couldn't a while ago.
I would say this for sure, and I think Ted would agree with this. When you get older, you're supposed to lose distance. No one's losing distance.
No. Well, and it's the equipment. You know, it's the club head, the shaft, the ball, and the other part is the manicured fairways. You know, Trevino said we used to play out of the rough in the fairway. You know, the grass was so long. Now it's like a putting green.
Well, I'm not saying some public courses or daily feed courses or even some country clubs, when we get into hard conditions and let's say we don't get a lot of rain, we get compacted fairways that contribute to distance. So that part I can understand because I think they did used to grow the grass a little bit longer. I don't have a problem with that. I think your biggest easy fix would be just to limit the golf ball, to tone down the golf ball, at least at the professional tournament level or USGA events. That you just say, look, here's the standard of the golf ball, and everybody's got to hit the same standard. And that would well,
that's what the Masters want to do, Dave. They want to have a ball just for the Masters, and you can have your logo on it all you want, but everybody's going to be playing the same ball if you're going to play at the Masters.
Well, I agree with that.
I
play the same ball in baseball.
That would stop. And the true, really great players or long players would have that advantage, and that's what they should have.
Right. If you hit it that long and keep it in the fairway, you deserve the advantage.
Right. Exactly. I want to go back to the Phil Mickelson thing. He did two things in this particular setting yesterday. Not only the layup, which I just thought was silly, but now he putts from 78 yards out and claims that it was because of the contour of the green that he felt he could get closer. Okay, I don't. And then he barely gets the ball to the green.
I've done that before, and you've laughed at me, Dave.
I mean, that's just silly.
That's Mickelson. I mean, that's what he does.
Yeah, he was hot. He was running hot.
He comes with things that to make people talk about it. Just Phil. Nobody else can do that.
He put his coffee mug down with the logo on it just to irritate the tour. He was running hot all week, and I hate that he does that because he really showed himself with Tom Watson a few years ago, and he didn't go after Jack Nicklaus yesterday, but it was at Jack Nicklaus's place. Ted, one of these he already is. One of these years, though, Phil Mickelson's going to be the Ryder Cup captain. He's already one of the grand figures, grand old men of the game. How's he going to take in a few years when the youngsters pop off at him like he did Tom Watson a few years ago, and he really showed out yesterday?
That's a good question. Whether Phil would mellow or just continue being the way he is. He's been controversial from when he first came out there. And the year I played golf a few years ago in Augusta, and he had played a practice round right in front of us, and we got in, they were eating lunch, and the stuff that they were talking about at the table, I was listening about these aerospace nuclear planes in the sky, words I've never heard of, and he was on a conversation with these two guys. I mean, he's really brilliant. I mean, he's a really smart guy and knows how to play the media.
And I'm going to tell you something right now. That is why he will mellow out, because his endorsement money right now is incredible, and he is not going to put that at risk. And I think he already knows right now that his best playing days are by far over. And when you do gimmicky things like he did yesterday, laying up on a par 3, putting from 78 yards out, well, that's just crazy. Last thing, Ted Butler, and then we got to move on here. But another guy that was really vocal and paid a big price for being a meathead, Bryson DeChambeau with his 10 put Xander Schauffele and Tiger Woods in on the weekend. He wouldn't have been there if it hadn't have been for Bryson DeChambeau.
The picture of him
10.
toting that score up when he's going 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That picture is forever.
The thing that gets me is, like, he had no respect for Tiger Woods as the week began. I think he took some swipes at the Jack Nicklaus course. He didn't show respect to Jack. Is this stuff going to catch up with DeChambeau?
I think so. Who was one of the announcers said, is that Tin Cup down there getting those shots? Because he kept doing the same thing over and over again. He could still be there.
Karma, man. It'll get you.
It was karma. Yeah. I agree with you 100%, Brett.
Yeah.
It'll get you, won't it?
Great tournament, though.
But Ted, when he's toting that score up in his head, 4,
really
5, 6, 7, 8,
like he didn't really know already.
Yeah. He knew. He absolutely.
He needed a risk counter. He needed the risk counter.
Yeah. Ted, thank you, my friend. How is your golf business doing?
Oh, it's booming. I mean, I'm overwhelmed right now with golf lessons, and the range outside is packed every day. I mean, even in this weather, the tracers are just people are really starting to love knowing what their golf ball is doing.
Well, I know this. They had over 170 rounds at Miramichi over the weekend. That just goes to show you we are enjoying the one of the few things of the pandemic. It has allowed for a renaissance of golf. There's no doubt in my mind. Thank you. We appreciate it. We'll do it again next week.
All right, guys.
Bye-bye. That is our guy on golf. That is Ted Butler. We are late for a timeout. Back in a minute on Sports Time on Sports 56.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Peter Edmiston and CJ Hurt. Right here on Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7 FM.
As you get back to business, small things can make a big difference. Like marking safe distances with floor tape and posting reminders to wash hands. As always, Grainger is here to help, offering supplies and solutions for every industry. Free access to product specialists, 24/7 support, safety recovery guides, and more. It's part of our commitment to help you adapt and recover in these challenging times. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
For streaming, creating, gaming, and more, power your passions for less during Dell's exceptional Cyber Savings event. Enjoy up to $400 off stunning laptops like the XPS and next-level Alienware systems, redefining what's possible with 10th Gen Intel Core processors. Plus, enjoy free shipping on everything. Don't forget to ask for Intel when you call 800-BY-DELL. That's 800-BY-DELL.
Great news, sports fans. The Butcher Shop Steakhouse is now open for dine-in service. Make a reservation and enjoy a mouth-watering steak dinner. Or, if you prefer, take it curbside. In addition to their fantastic steaks, the Butcher Shop Steakhouse has a variety of entrees, including Canadian lobster tail, crab-stuffed shrimp, pan-seared red snapper, and fresh ground steak burger with portobello mushroom sauce. Planning to cook out? The Butcher Shop Steakhouse offers a great selection of fresh Angus beef, hand-cut steaks and burgers, lamb chops, Atlantic salmon, and more. Make your reservation for dine-in or pre-order for curbside pickup. The Butcher Shop Steakhouse, dine-in, curbside, and delivery. Plus, enjoy the sizzle of top-quality Butcher Shop steaks on your own grill. Call us at 757-4244 and visit our website, thebutchershop.com, for menus and more. The Butcher Shop Steakhouse, Walnut Grove and Germantown Parkway.
Whether you're working from home or working on your fitness, you want what you're listening to be what you're listening to, right? Not what your roommates or family are listening to. Now is the perfect time to get a pair of premium wireless earbuds. Raycon is the way to go. Raycon start at about half the price of other premium brands on the market, and they sound just as amazing. Raycon's everyday E25 earbuds, the best model yet. You get 6 hours of playtime, seamless Bluetooth pairing, more bass, and a more compact design that gives you a comfortable noise isolating fit. It's great for conference calls, video chats, or binging on podcasts. I do that too. It was co-founded by Ray J, and celebrities like Cardi B and J.R. Smith have already given Raycons their seal of approval. Now's your turn. See what the hype's about. Get 15% off your order at buyraycon.com/herd. That's buyraycon.com/herd. 15% off. One more time. buyraycon.com/herd.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
Welcome back in Family Leisure Studios here. You need to get to the real thing. That's at I-40 and Witten Road. Save now in your 2021 swimming pool. Yeah, we're always thinking ahead. We want to make sure that your backyard is your staycation palace, and the swimming pools now, because they're pretty well going for 2020. You can get the first one of 2021. You get it at 2020 pricing, and your spot for installation is secured. They got patio furniture, 20 to 30% off right now. Play gyms are in stock. They're back. They're run out. They've been doing so well. You can beat the heat with an indoor game table, maybe a slate pool table. They're all there for you. Pool toys and floats up to 30% off. That is at Family Leisure. I get this note. I think it's from you, Brett. Dr. Fauci will throw out the first pitch for the opener from the Yankees and the Nats, which reminds me, because we haven't had a chance to talk about this programming note, 5 o'clock on Wednesday, voice of the Nationals, Bob Carpenter, is going to join us tomorrow at 5:30. Penny Hardaway is going to join us.
Great deal.
And this news just out from Twitter, Bob Costas is joining CNN as a contributor.
Good. I'm looking forward to hearing Bob Costas on MLB Network doing games and DirecTV. I think I read this. They're going to give for free everybody the MLB extra inning package.
Really?
And Drew, for your team, the Orioles, over the weekend, Masson announced that Gary Thorne and Jim Palmer and the old catcher Rick Dempsey, none of them would be a part of the broadcast because of their ages.
Really?
They're going very, very young. All of them were, I think, okay by it. And I think we're going to see more and more of, you decide the age, but around press boxes and teams and availabilities, because how rough it has been on older people. Mark Davis, the owner of the Raiders today, said that that there are not going to be any fans and that he's not going to be around. He's not going to any games. And I think he's 65. Gary Thorne, 71 or 72.
Is that right? I thought he was my age. How old is Jim Palmer? 71 or 72? Gary
Palmer was 20 in the 66 World Series. Let's see if we can do this math. Palmer was 20 in the 66 World Series.
Well, that's 34 and 54, and he's 74.
That's it. Boy, can't get anything past Dave, can we?
74 years old.
That was great math.
That
Did
is
you take
hard
your
to
shoes
believe.
off?
No.
Were you using the toes there?
No, that's one thing I can't do quite quickly. Just the basic math stuff I can do fast.
That was good stuff.
Yeah.
You got so much experience toting up those golf scores like that.
Oh, well, I can guarantee you this.
But you keep going from 74.
If I was going to go to 10, I would have known I didn't have to. He did that on purpose. He knew.
Today, the NHL, 2,618 tests, 2 positive, 2 out of 2618.
Wow. Well, that is outstanding. One of the protocols that we know colleges are going to have. We've seen the American was one of the first to announce it, but they're really modeling what the NCAA and the Power 5 are going to do, and that's they're hoping to test once a week. That is going to cost each school $500,000 for the year to test. What are you going to do if you're the TSSAA? High schools can't do that. They can't.
No, they can't. It's just going to be impossible to do it. But there was a lot of decent college and sports testing news today. Notre Dame tested 103 student athletes last Wednesday, 0 positive tests. To date, they've tested 356 with 2 positive tests. That's athletes, coaches, staff, everything. Oklahoma tested 100, had 1 positive test on Friday.
If we get these cases to come down, and I believe we could do that with social distancing and masks, maybe we have to delay a little bit, but I can see some positivity.
I can't today. We're going to delay, though. Just we're not starting September 5th.
I'm in agreement with you there. I know we're going to talk some college football. I got some info I think that is going to happen, and lots more coming your way. We're going to do that with David Cobb from CBS Sports in just a minute. You've got the Monday edition of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wallow and Stats.
Whether you're working from home or working on your fitness, you want what you're listening to be what you're listening to, right? Not what your roommates or family are listening to. Now is the perfect time to get a pair of premium wireless earbuds. Raycon is the way to go. Raycon start at about half the price of other premium brands on the market, and they sound just as amazing. Raycon's everyday E25 earbuds, the best model yet. You get 6 hours of playtime, seamless Bluetooth pairing, more bass, and a more compact design that gives you a comfortable noise-isolating fit. It's great for conference calls, video chats, or binging on podcasts. I do that too. It was co-founded by Ray J, and celebrities like Cardi B and J.R. Smith have already given Raycons their seal of approval. Now's your turn. See what the hype's about. Get 15% off your order at buyraycon.com/herd. That's buyraycon.com/herd. 15% off. One more time. buyraycon.com/herd.
Hi folks, this is Dominic Hoon, General Manager here at Sunrise on the Pike. I want to invite you to the Sunrise Annual Tent Sale going on right now. Thinking about a new or used car or truck and not sure where to get the most for your money? Come to Sunrise on the Pike. More than 1,000 Buicks and GMCs to choose from. The majority price at employee pricing. You heard right, employee pricing. That means you pay what we pay. Bad credit, bankruptcy, slow pay? That's okay. Here at Sunrise, we specialize in secondary financing. If you got a job, you're approved at Sunrise, the home of the guaranteed credit approval. See us online at sunriseonthepike.com.
I want to do some bragging rights. Hey, I was just the other day overhearing a conversation with Big Mike, the manager of DeSoto Auto Sales. They've got people buying cars all over the country. North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, Arkansas, Texas. People from all over the country buy cars at DeSoto Auto Sales in Olive Branch, Mississippi. Why? DeSoto Auto Sales has the most stringent car inspection in America. They get it right the first time. Quality and low mileage. Factory warranty on most vehicles. My favorite part is the people who work there. Big Mike, all the employees are professional, friendly, and go that extra mile. Expect as you walk in the door, you're treated like family. DeSoto Auto Sales understands your time matters. We can help you find your dream car and get all the paperwork finished in less than an hour. Come see us at DeSoto Auto Sales and be part of our family. Have a great buying experience every time. 662-890-7184.
Farmers Insurance knows that when you're in the car and that song comes on, yes, that's the one, you have no choice but to pull out your imaginary drumsticks and smash those cymbals and stomp on that kick pedal, which unfortunately is the accelerator pedal. And we covered it. Talk to a farmer's agent who knows a thing or two because they've seen a thing or two.
Call Chad Gatlin at 901-235-1176 or get a fast quote at memphisfarmers.com.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Underwritten by Farmers Truck Fire Insurance Exchanges and Affiliates. Products not available in every state.
Glad to announce the Rendezvous open for business 11A to 8P Tuesday through Saturday. World famous Rendezvous up and running. If you need some barbecue nachos, brisket, ribs, maybe a cheese and sausage plate, The Rendezvous back and open for dine-in, carry-out, and curbside. While not much changes in the alley basement, you will see a few small differences and additions. For now, open 11 a.m. to 8 p.m., Tuesday through Saturday, and they have desserts. Think key lime pie tarts, chocolate chess pie tarts. Spend some time downtown and visit our friends at The Rendezvous in the alley in downtown Memphis since 1948. All of the Vergas family thanks Memphis and the Mid-South so very much for your support during these times, and they're there for you, as always, in the alley in downtown Memphis. Mr. Charlie Vergos and family's famous restaurant, The Rendezvous.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, WIVG-FM Tunica Memphis, and WPG-FLP Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Welcome in hour number 2 on another crazy day in the world of sports, on a day where I've just found out the governor of New Jersey, Phil Murphy, actually said to the Jets and the Giants they could have 500 fans. I don't know what their social distancing was going to be like. I know each county health department has their own thing. At AutoZone Park, I understand that for 901 FC next Saturday, when they are hosting, I think it's Charlotte, that there will be about 1,000 people. That is with 12 feet social distancing. Not 6, but 12.
Extra careful.
And I understand
New Jersey got hit hard, Dave.
I heard that in New Jersey they said you could have 500 fans, and the Giants and the Jets said 500 is only going to make more enemies than it will friends. We'll have no fans. And that is part of what they decided to do.
Sorry, MetLife Stadium seats 82.5.
82,500, and they're only going to give a 5,000. So
15,000 fatalities in New Jersey. They're per million in population.
Yep.
It's the highest, 1,777.
Another big story today is the state of California has decided they will push back all their fall sports, including football, until December. The man that wrote that story for CBS Sportsline.com, that would be David Cobb. He joins us now. David, that's a big story. Is that going to set a precedent? What do you think?
Yeah, well, it didn't in the sense that Georgia came a couple hours later with an announcement that they are going to only suspend the start of football season, at least for now, for 2 weeks. So
just like Mississippi.
Not at all, right, exactly. Not at all surprising that Georgia and California aren't on the same page. I mean, they're not on the same page in a lot of things. But yeah, I think California's decision could have an impact nationally. I do think there are some states that will look to the rules that they are adopting, and essentially it's going to have a big impact on recruiting because for one thing, a lot of guys are going to have to choose. I mean, there are dozens and dozens of D1 Power 5 caliber players who are seniors in California this year, and a couple of them have already come out and said, well, this stinks, but I'm not going to play high school football this year. I'm going to continue with my plan to enroll early at the college that I'm going to attend, which shouldn't come as any surprise. But you know what? Maybe that's a reminder of something you talked about, Stats, which is that if we push college football to the spring, we're going to have the same situation where college players
keep on pushing.
Are going to say, you know what, I'm not going to play. I'm going to prepare for the next level, which is exactly what some of these high school players are doing. So there's going to be an impact on the game with any decision like this, and that California one today is very tangible.
It's very tough decision that has to be made, David, and I was probably at best hard last week on Greg Sankey, and at worst somewhat bellicose and belligerent about it, but that's how I felt. That's how I feel. But now you're seeing this kind of soft landing, this safe harbor for college football being in the springtime, and you even have some suggesting for FCS and non-Power 5, and I made it clear I don't know Matt Hayes, and just because I disagree with him, I don't assail him because I don't know the man, but he is now making the case that might be good permanently for a non-Power 5. That would involve the University of Memphis, and if they go to the springtime permanently and they have their own playoffs and their own bowls, well, that would be a self-imposition of being ostracized out on secondary island forever for University of Memphis football if they did that. I'm very opposed to that.
How well has spring football worked for anybody else who's tried it?
Nobody.
Not very well.
It hadn't, David. It hadn't. We fondly, romantically remember the high points of the showboats. Look, I loved it, and Dave, it was a big broadcast break for you. You were going to make it with or without it, but it helped grease the skids a little bit for a young Dave Woloshin and pay some bills. But we remember the high points of it, but I also remember going to showboat games when there were about 11,000 people there, too.
Well, that was a unique situation, too. It was the first spring league, one. Secondly, they were actually going to compete.
Well, it was really kind of the second one after the WFL.
Well, I guess so, yeah. But the WFL, I was trying to remember, that was more like I thought a summer
it was spring
league.
and
Was it spring?
Dave, it was. It was more spring, and it started in the spring, and it was more summer.
Yeah.
Their opening day was more May, and closing day was more July than the USFL. So technically,
it was a prelude. This one was clearly to follow the NFL, and they spaced it out better than these other teams did. And they were going dollar for dollar. They were trying to lure players away from the NFL to play in the USFL, and at that time they had
Moneybags Trump, when he was a billionaire.
Yeah, well, and Billy Donovan was no slouch. I mean, they had money with people with deep pockets, and they were committed, and they had their own individual network that was willing to grow with them, and that was ESPN. So that was so unique. I think the AAF and the XFL have proved we need time off. I said this last hour, but I'll reiterate it because David Cobb made the same point that I made a while ago. We need some time off. It would work this year, but it would not work on a regular basis. You might get a better TV deal, but it would not be enough to really work. I think you got to stay with the traditional time frame, and I think Memphis would be crazy to do that. I want to go back a little bit to the recruiting aspect of California, saying we're going to back up and great players maybe not playing this year, and saying, you know what, I'm going to save it for college. How will this affect recruiting by schools who get it wrong? To me, there's a big difference between a kid at his junior year in high school and his senior year. Some guys are going to get overlooked. They got bigger. Some guys are going to be a little bit more lazy. They're not going to be as good. I think colleges will miss on more players if a lot of that class decides not to play this year.
The next few years in college football could be some of the best parity years in recent memory because of that exact what you're saying, Wolo, which is the opportunities to evaluate prospects have been fewer in the last 4 or 5 months, and will continue to be fewer over the next 6 to 8 months leading into the February signing day. I mean, there's just so few opportunities, and for a lot of guys, they commit before their senior year, and they have the opportunity to commit because of the scholarships that they've already been offered because of what they put on tape as sophomores and juniors. And there's also a lot of guys, though, who don't put a lot on tape. Maybe they transfer between schools. Maybe they hit a late growth spurt. There could be any number of reasons why a guy doesn't really shine until his senior year. And so what's going to happen if California, and this is what they're doing, they're not playing now until December at the earliest. And a lot of those sections in California aren't going to start until January. So at that point, you're starting the season a month before the traditional signing date. So by that time, a lot of major programs already have most spots in the class filled, and they already have offers out to fill the rest of the spots that they haven't filled already. And so it's going to deprive some players who grow into Power 5 caliber players of the opportunity to get a Power 5 scholarship, because just the recruiting calendar is just not going to be in their favor. Now, maybe there ends up being some sort of an adjustment to the recruiting calendar and the signing days and whatnot, but that hasn't come yet. And unless a ton of other states follow California's lead, it might not come. And there's going to be some guys who end up at the Group of 5 level and even the FCS and D2 level, I mean, honestly, who are good enough to play Power 5 football who don't get that opportunity because of the way the calendar is going to work out this year.
Yeah, and I just always very reluctant to use this word, but I just don't want to see the Tigers segregated, just put out there in a different level of football with any of that stuff kind of being in with the others, air quote here. I just don't think that's necessary. I think we should expand the Power 5 conferences and allow teams like Memphis and other very well-deserving teams in there, or maybe the most of, if not the entirety of the AAC. David, what's the best idea you've heard over this last stormy week? You know how hot I was running a week ago. I still am mostly, and I have. I wake up in the night just about half, PO'd over it. What's the best idea you've heard over the last week?
Well, it took a lot of, honestly, Scott, it took a lot of people talking like you were talking, and frankly, like I was talking about, the lack of leadership and the lack of goals, of clearly stated and quantifiable goals that we were working towards as a society and as this sports collective, for what we were going to need to move forward. And we finally got a little bit of that from Sankey. And so I want to give him his due, because, look, this is way, 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 way overdue, and he wasn't the only culprit, but he finally came out and said, that largely it's about making sure that our infrastructure is not overrun as a society. So he didn't use the term flatten the curve, but he said that one of the key metrics for whether or not we're going to be able to have a season is whether or not, the intensive care units at our hospitals have space to handle the status in the pandemic. And so it was nice to actually finally get him to sort of talk a little bit about what this is going to take, to get this thing going. And I think he's got the public's attention now in a way that he didn't before. Because, he's done a good job, I guess, by largely remaining silent, of avoiding taking sides. And so, I don't think that people listen to Sankey and think that he's got a political agenda. And so for him to finally say, what it's going to take, to stage a season, I think that was necessary and long overdue. And, so I think that's sort of given us a target. I was on the Daily Memphis website a little bit earlier and noticed them saying that ICU bed use is down 1%, that we need to cheer for that. Like, now as a society, for those of us yearning to see sports, and we were indifferent towards the virus before, well, now we've got the SEC commissioner on record saying that those statistics really matter if we're going to have a season. And you can debate whether or not, he's right, or if that's still too lenient, or if we're still placing too high of a priority on football. But at least, there's sort of been some indication now. And that's, we got to be rooting. We got to be, doing everything we can with the masks and the distancing and all that to get this thing going. Because if those public health metrics really are what we're looking at in terms of like whether or not we're going to have football, then there you have it. That's something for us to kind of collectively work together on, and I don't think we had that before. So I guess, finally, long overdue, give the commissioners and Sankey as well, credit for helping us kind of get on the same page there.
Well, as we look from the East Coast to the West Coast, the New Jersey governor today said, 500 fans, and the Jets and the Giants said no fans. The Pac-12 and the other coast said, you know what? We're postponing media days indefinitely. Brett and I think we're of one mind here now, saying that if indeed there is a season, it will not start September the 5th. Give me your sense of what you think will happen. We know it's speculation. We're not going to hold you hostage to what you say here. But I'd love, as you've called around the country for stories that you're writing for CBS, what your gut feel is about this season.
Well, I think that mid-September is probably the earliest. Yeah, I mean, I think because everybody's got a hole. I mean, almost everybody has at least one hole in their schedule now. And I think by the time it's all said and done, everybody will have at least one game that is not on the schedule anymore. And probably more than that. Obviously, the Pac-12 and the Big Ten have 3-4 holes on their schedule by eliminating league games. But even the other conferences have at least one hole now because of FCS conferences that they had games with. So I think because of that, you'll see it move back, at least a week. So maybe we're talking, that September 12th week now. But, I mean, I don't think there's going to be – I think at 80% of stadiums there will be less than 20%, of the stands filled. I mean, if you're listening here and you're hoping to go to a game this year, I would say to make other plans, because I just think the likelihood of there being fans in the stands in any way that remotely resembles what we're used to seeing in college football, I just think that's the likelihood of that is very, very slim.
And how many games, like for instance, how many games you think the University of Memphis will play? How many games you think will it be uniform? Will everybody try to play 8 or 9? Some play 7, some play. And you go back through the college football record books, and I did it a while back for the 1918 1919 season. Some teams played 7, some played none, some played 2, some played 5.
Right.
How many think will be played?
Actually, I mean, Oresco from the ASC commissioner, he's actually on the record, saying that they want to play 12 games. I mean, I don't know ultimately what that looks like. We know Memphis already has Purdue wiped off the schedule. So there's going to.
Would you play home and homes? Would you play somebody twice?
Well, I've got a suggestion for that. I mean, if you look now, so it appears from a couple of different angles that I've heard it, and Brett, you probably know the same. Alabama is talking about playing that very first game where the USC game got bumped, that they would play BYU. BYU was really, because they're an independent, they've lost 5 games. They got a game, they got an availability on September the 12th if the season is not delayed, where Memphis could play them. That's the one game that's open.
Yeah, a rematch of that bowl game.
Exactly.
I like that.
And you know what?
Get the Dukes up.
And guess what?
Won the game and won the fight, David.
They got plenty of money at BYU. Maybe they'll pay the $750,000 Purdue is going to play, and Memphis can go there. That'll take place a week after Alabama beats the heck out of them.
Yeah, that might. I don't know that BYU got the horsepower to play Alabama and Memphis in back-to-back weeks, because I know they beat Tennessee last year, but that wasn't saying much at the time. And Memphis, I think, is a good bit better than BYU right now. But hey, I mean, there you go. That's what it's going to take, is the ADs being proactive and going ahead and getting stuff done now, even though it's uncertain. And then the other thing that we haven't talked about much, that I'm starting to get a little bit of a feel on, is that these conferences have kind of put basketball scheduling and foresight on the back burner while they're trying to figure out football. And I get it, because football is the moneymaker for all these leagues. But with basketball teams reporting now today and being allowed to do 8 hours per week of workouts, and most teams starting with that today, we got to start talking about basketball. And
we sure
I
should,
think that
David.
the leagues have started to do that a little bit, but I mean, look, we saw how by kicking the can down the road on putting provisional plans in place for football, I mean, we just sort of collectively, just got whipped by this thing, and so you cannot afford to have that happen to the only other money-making revenue sport as a collegiate enterprise, and so. I mean, those conversations have to be a part, I think, of any conference call moving forward that has ADs and commissioners on it. They need to devote 25% of any call like that to making sure that there's something,
and David,
gearing up for basketball.
That is something that Mark Emmert does control. So why wouldn't he right now, today, tomorrow, and he may be doing this. Look, it's easy for me to sit out here and take pot shots. It's the easiest thing in the world to be the turn left guy when you turn right. It's the easiest thing in the world. But I would hope that sometimes this week or next, he would roll out maybe the men's tournament committee as the blue ribbon committee to start putting a plan together instead of being reactionary, as I talked about last week. To the aggressor goes the victory. The aggressor wins. Get on offense, college basketball, and Mark Emmert could do that. He does have a real say-so in that sport.
Well, you hate to say it, but he did say something last week, which was basically the caseloads and the signs across the country are not good. I mean, if you just took what he said and you just read it verbatim, you would be thinking he's paving the way
agree with
to not have a season.
Well,
okay,
they need to
I
get
agree
it.
with that. Go ahead,
I mean,
Dave.
they need to get something in the works now, because I talked to a basketball coach today who told me that his league is considering one thing that's been talked about is going to a 26-game league-only schedule. And now, I mean, it's not down the road. They're not going to vote on this thing yet, but that's been discussed. And so, if you don't have national leadership, conferences like the A, conferences like CUSA, the MAC, I mean, you know, the AAC obviously being at the top of that heap, but still being a league that really needs the non-conference opportunities to showcase their best team and to make the case for NCAA tournament bids. And so that's why I think it would be so critical to get a national conversation started now with the commissioners about how to incorporate some sort of a non-conference element into basketball season. Because, I mean, if these leagues start going further down the road with those discussions like the one I just mentioned, there won't be any non-conference basketball. And that's going to hurt any league that is not rich and doesn't have a TV deal. And so that's got to be a part of these talks.
If you're talking about 26 conference games, you're only talking about a league that's got 14 teams. I did the math real quick on that.
Well, I mean, you know, you could modify
Dave's
that number
crushing
based on
the math
numbers.
today.
Yeah. All right, you'll be able to ID my source pretty easy there. But yeah, just, you know, you'll read that story tomorrow and you'll know what I'm talking about. But you know, anyway, I mean, that stuff's being discussed. And there will be multiple leagues. There probably already are multiple leagues who are starting to have those conversations. And if the football blueprint is any indication, they're going to get introverted. They're going to get insular. And they're going to, you know, establish protocols within their
every man for himself.
Wait,
Exactly.
that would really be interesting if all the leagues tried to adopt that. Now you're talking about there would be an unequal amount of games that would be played in the American because there's no longer Connecticut. You're talking about 11 teams, so that would be 20 conference games. That would be 6 less than a 14-team league. Somewhere along the way, you're going to have to try to make that up. I don't think you're going to try to play if you're really trying to do this the right way. And I guess a lot of this would be to get television money. You know, you don't want to limit your product as best you can. So,
oh no, you got to keep it coming.
You probably got to have some big name rivalry conference interconference games. So maybe 26 would be the number. Maybe that, I don't know what they would do, but that really is intriguing. And now you also have to take into account, are we going to have, this is inside. If we're talking about 500 fans for an NFL outside stadium, what are you going to have inside?
You play at El Marone, like I suggested to Laird, and he didn't dismiss that. At Alabama, you play it. You play at Foster Auditorium. At Arkansas, you play at Bud Walton Arena. At Ole Miss, you play at the Tui basketball practice facility. Now you got to get TV cameras in there, but we can do that instead of playing in these exotic gyms that are very expensive to heat and light and rent and all that. We go down and make it kind of a bubble atmosphere for only people that really matter being in that building.
Yeah, I mean, I think basketball in that way is more practical than football, just because the number of people that it takes to pull it off are fewer. And by that time, I mean, please tell me, I want to believe with everything in me that we'll have the virus closer to being somewhat under control. So I don't. There should be no reason. I'll put it this way: there should be no reason, as we sit here in mid-July, why they can't get their heads together now to figure out how to safely stage something resembling a full basketball season. That's, and I was saying the same thing about football back in March, and we sort of, are on the verge of falling off the cliff there. And so, that's sort of got to be the next point of emphasis, because look, the NBA, I mean, 0 positive test results today, from down in that bubble. And obviously you can't do college basketball in a bubble. So it's going to be hard to eliminate, any positive.
Boy, it'd be
cases,
fun, though.
Well, yeah, the NCAA tournament could be a lot of fun that way. So we got to protect that at all costs, I think. And, that tournament, again, you can't lose 2 years in a row of it. 1 year in a row of miss college football, miss college basketball, crushing enough. But if you get to a point where you're talking about missing the NCAA tournament 2 years in a row, it's not, it's just, catastrophic. There's just, I don't even know where to begin with how devastating that would be for a lot of schools.
The new cheer has to be Go Science. We got 155 vaccines being worked on. Come on, somebody.
Go
get us a winner.
Go Science and go Good Judgment. Mask, distancing, mask. Heck, I'm going to put one on in my house.
There you go, Stats. I'm with you.
Thank you, my friend. We appreciate it. We'll read your story tomorrow, and we will go. We will go from there. And we'll talk to you next Monday.
All right, guys. Thanks.
That is our man from CBS, David Cobb. Our title sponsor for this hour of the program is Homer Skelton Hyundai and Genesis of Olive Branch. There's limited powertrain warranties on all the new vehicles, all those new Hyundais. And I'm talking Genesis cars too. 2021 models have started to arrive. I am told the new Genesis SUV could be in by September. The Tucson is the #1 2020 compact SUV by J.D. Power. The Veloster is the compact sporty car that they say, when it comes to initial quality, is #1. Again, that is J.D. Power. Even the Hyundai certified pre-owned vehicles will get a 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. That's how good these cars are. Hyundai tied for the most number of top safety pick vehicles in all of 2020. The numbers all say you need to get on Highway 78. That's Lamar in Memphis. When you get to State Line Road, it's that 2-lane highway for just a minute. Then comes Exit 1 Craft Road. Turn left and go see my guys. That's Chris True and all the gang. They've been together for a long time. They are the standard, I think, for the way car business should be done, but I want you to go find out for yourself. Get on over to Homer Skelton Hyundai and Genesis of Olive Branch. Back in just a minute, more college football on the docket. That is next on Sports Time.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ. Listen to us daily on AM 560, 96.1 FM, or 87.7 FM.
Hey, Mike, how's the house coming along?
Needs a ton of work. The pipes are leaking. Needs a new roof. The AC just broke. I just don't have time to do it all myself. You know anyone?
Oh, just ask Home Advisor. They match you with the best local pros for any home project.
Cool.
Yeah, you can read reviews and book appointments online.
What's it cost?
Actually, Home Advisor is always free to use.
Nice. I'll check it out.
Go to HomeAdvisor.com or download the free app.
Home Advisor.
No matter how you top it, you can't top Pizza Hut's best delivery deal. Large 3-topping pizzas for just $9.99. No one out-pizzas the Hut. Extra charge for some crust. Deal availability in delivery areas. Charges and minimums apply. Delivery charge not a tip.
All 75 months at 3.14 APR. G4, LHF 07822, Outlander LUO 28772, Eclipse LZO 16320. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 59875. Excludes tax, title, and license with approved credit. See dealer for details. Offer valid through end of the month. Dealer stock only.
Drive your ambition with a new ride from Gossett Mitsubishi on the Pike. 2020 Mitsubishi Mirage G4. $149 a month with 41 MPG highway. Or buy for $12,435. 2020 Mitsubishi Outlander Sport is ready for any adventure at $229 a month. Or buy for $18,533. And cross over to summer in a 2020 Mitsubishi Eclipse Cross. Only $19,147 or $239 per month. And better yet, they're all backed by a stellar 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Mirage G4, $149 a month. Outlander Sport, $229 a month. And Eclipse Cross, $239 a month. Feel safe and confident while shopping at Gossett Mitsubishi, 1870 Covington Pike. Or shop online at memphismitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
For streaming, creating, gaming, and more, power your passions for less during Dell's exceptional Cyber Savings Event. Enjoy up to $400 off stunning laptops like the XPS and next-level Alienware systems, redefining what's possible with 10th Gen Intel Core processors. Plus, enjoy free shipping on everything. Don't forget to ask for Intel when you call 800 by Dell. That's 800 by Dell.
Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Cruising through our Monday, so glad you could be with us. It's brought to you in part by Conway Services, heating, cooling, plumbing, electric, and of course, the tankless water heater getting to 2020. Get that new technology where you never run out of hot water and you only pay for the money you're using. Really, that's the way it works. The thing doesn't turn on unless you're using hot water. And most 10-year-old water heaters, they're about 65% efficient when they're new. Now when they get old, forget about it. You're always going to be 98% efficient with a tankless water heater from Conway. And right now, John's got the tankless as low as $79 a month, or he'll give you $300 for that old tanked water heater. And there's no more worrying about that tank bursting in your attic because guess what? There's no tank. What a deal. Just make the call. 384-3511. You can be part of the over 8,000 five-star reviews if you deal with Conway. That's what they get. They're really good. 384-3511. Conway Services, heating, cooling, plumbing, electric. Drew Barrett just gave me this news, which I found a little stunning considering what's going on in Texas and especially in the Houston area. Austin is not that far away. The governor, I thought, was trying to get a little bit tougher. You just said the University of Texas made what announcement?
It's actually Brett who told me to tell you. Oh. So I guess Brett should probably
50%.
explain it.
50%.
They're going 50% capacity. That's 50,000. Who believes that?
Nobody. I don't.
Nobody.
You know,
David Cobb made this point. We got to stop the puffery. We got to stop, several weeks ago, I'm not even going to call any names, but said AD says, we're going to be at 100% this year, and we're playing it just like we always have. We spent too much time in May and June wasting time with that happy talk. This is tell me the truth, lick log time talk.
I'm with you. That is just crazy.
Quit BSing me.
The governor of New Jersey, with the science that he's getting from his health department or departments, he's saying you could have 500 fans in an 82,000-seat stadium. 500. That's with at least, Lord knows what.
New Jersey and New York was crushed compared to Texas. How about this? Florida and Texas, they soon will equal New York in cases, but they've had 1/10 the fatality rate.
Well, that is outstanding news, but it was so bad that a few days ago they were bringing in refrigerated trucks to act as temporary morgues in Houston, Texas. That's not that far from Austin.
But Texas fatality rate's 1.20%. But who's believing 50,000 gathered up around each other? Even if you could look, without being too political, and I don't want to be. I really don't want to be. But I know that this is an even numbered year, and we know the stakes in November, whatever side you're on. The people in Oklahoma spoke at the Trump rally. Yeah. They didn't want to be in there around each other.
Well, what about NASCAR? NASCAR, which has incredible
and that's
fanaticism.
Outside. And Texas football's outside, too.
They had the opportunity for the Bristol event in a 162,000-seat stadium. They were given the opportunity to sell 30,000 tickets. 20,000 people showed up. That said something to me. And I'm just looking at our own health department. If we're going to speculate, Stats, let's look at what we already kind of know about what Dr. Haushalter, Dr. McCullers are thinking about. Basically, they told 901FC, you can have your crowd, but they have 10%. To be 12 feet socially distant and wear masks. and they got to have staggered times in. And when they figured all that out, Craig Unger and the health department said, okay, it looks like we can do it your way with about 1,000 people. That's 10%. I know that some of the models that I've seen for the Liberty Bowl, if you did the 12 feet spacing and you did the staggered come in and leave, you're talking about a crowd of 3,000 to 4,000. 3,000 to 4,000. We heard Laird Veach say he really needs 15,000 there to make it work. Maybe if the caseload goes down, we can get to the 20% that he needs.
Maybe so.
But
Maybe
that's not where we're at right now. And I just find it astounding that on the same day the governor of New Jersey says we're going to have 500 people, and the Giants say, no, we're not going to have anybody there. This comes a week after Philly was going no gatherings of mass people in stands through March of 2021, and the people in Austin are going, don't worry about it, 50,000 people. That's just not going to happen.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like it will, and going to a game there is great, and I'm looking forward. We're going to catch up with Craig Way. I hope sometime this week, if not this week, next, because. And I maybe I didn't know all the symbolism and the imagery and some that offended. I don't think there's any better pregame buildup and setting in a stadium than being at Darrell K. Royal Stadium. I mean, when that drum and that big old Bevo comes out there, and when they break into Eyes of Texas, I'm telling you, it is good stuff. Now, maybe I didn't know all that I should have known, and they have revisited that, and they're going to keep Eyes of Texas, and they're going to keep the Hook'em sign. But they have, they I think properly have named the playing field. It'll be Darrell K. Royal at Earl Campbell, Ricky Williams Field. And they did it on the field. I know what Joe Jamel gave them, but I think if you're going to have a football field at Austin, Texas, it should be named after Earl Campbell and Ricky Williams ahead of Joe Jamel.
I agree, and I think they're doing a lot of things the right way. I am not sure. I mean, if I were a betting man right now, I would bet you that come September the 5th, there's not going to be 50,000 people in that stadium.
Have you been? Did you go to games when you were in College State? Did you go to Austin? Have you been to a game at Austin?
I've done basketball games in Austin. I've never been to a football game in Austin.
Football's incredible. The drum's coming down. They're building all new arena.
Yeah, I'm just going to say this. I think and we're not going to get this year, but the build-up for any college football game, that could be on Tiger Lane, it could be in the Grove, it could be, as you just said, waiting in Darrell Royal Stadium, Earl Campbell, Ricky Williams Field. It could be waiting for the spear to be thrown in Tallahassee at Doak Campbell, and I don't know if they're keeping that name. And I think that could be.
I don't know if they're keeping the spear.
A tradition could go away too, but there's nothing like the build-up and the electricity that you get with that. Well, that's not going to happen this year, even if we get games, because you're not going to be allowed to gather for your pregame tailgates. You're not going to be all allowed to go in the stadium.
Fans aren't going to be allowed
at the same time. If you get fans in, it's going to be the 10 to 20% range, and you'll have staggered times where you come in and leave. That's how it's going to work.
Remember last year, I thought it was a little bit off-putting how some, not all, how some in the LSU official party complained about the air conditioning and how hot it was that night they played. And I said then, when Ole Miss, when we played down there in 2013, I'm not kidding you, it was a late kickoff, 7:45, 8 o'clock, and he even got pushed back a little later. It slid a little because the game before it was running long. I mean, we like to never kicked off, and it was late. But blast furnace hot when the game was over at 11:30, and I said the locker room was like a meat locker. It was cold as it could be, and as nice a visiting locker room as I've ever been in. So I don't know how or why LSU was particularly treated like that, but I know when Texas goes to Baton Rouge this year or whenever they go, payback's going to be what.
Yeah. Yep. Let's hope that occurs.
Speaking of Texas, you ready to do the? look at Phil Steele and Lindy.
I was just thinking, Notre Dame's lost 4 games. How are they going to make those up? We know Alabama is not going to be one. BYU lost 5 games because they're also the independent.
I think BYU and Notre Dame could get together and do something.
Well, they could, and honestly, the BYU's lost a game that second day. I want to say that was Michigan State they were supposed to play at home. That lost a home game against Michigan State. BYU did. If they were to put up the money, I mean, Memphis has an opening. They could play Alabama
get it done
1 week and then play Memphis the next week at home. The Alabama game, that is, that I'm sure that'll be in Tuscaloosa, or is that a neutral? Where was the USC game going to be?
It was going to be neutral in Arlington, but I don't know if we're going to have many neutrals this year.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what we're going to have this year.
I don't either. I mean, if it came down
I know I want it.
If it came down to a model,
but I want it safe.
If it came down to the model that we keep hearing the SEC is interested in, where you'd play 8-2, 10 games, because you'd delay a couple of weeks, maybe a month, and then you would play your 8 conference games and 2 really good non-conference games. That model that could work. If Memphis had that, I don't know. They'd only have to lose 1 non-conference.
And the Tigers will lose this momentum because in Lindy's they're 19 and Phil Steele they're 25.
Oh,
and in Phil Steele's, let's go over some of the teams in front of them that I feel like I think the Tigers are better. I know they were at the end of last year as a metric, but that's last year. I understand that too. And going into this year, I feel like they're better than Miami. They're better than Virginia Tech.
Mm-hmm.
Auburn, with what they lost, I would not be scared of that game. I think they are as good or better than Tennessee and Kentucky. I think I know they're better than Central Florida.
Well, that was
and that's
a game,
teams in front of them
right.
For Phil Steele.
Well, that's a game that if we play, that's a game you'll see. I think Iowa's got a whole lot of problems on that team. Who knows how they come out of it? I think Memphis would be able to compete with them and Oklahoma State.
And I don't want to fight too hard over are you 17 or are you 22, but this kind of sets the dance music for the first AP poll, and that matters because that's where the first slotting occurs. Now, you can always leapfrog. You can always win your way out of the original slotting. Phil Steele and Lindy and everybody in the Western world that talks about college football in some shape or form got Ohio State, Clemson, Bama, and Oklahoma in a top 4. I think they agreed on that.
Everybody.
Phil Steele's got A&M 5, Florida 5. I don't think either one of them are 5, but I know A&M's not.
Well, A&M in Lindy's is 16, so there's a big discrepancy there.
Big spread.
And I kind of like Lindy's because I think Lindy's actually tries to have a little bit more balance, not to take anything away from Phil Steele because he puts his work in. He's got 8 SEC teams. Lindy's has 6.
He does, but we're allowed to disagree.
Sure. Big Ten's got 6 in Lindy. It's only got 5.
We put our work in too.
Phil Steele. The Lindy's has 3 ACC, where Phil Steele's got 5. He's only got 2 in the Pac-12, Phil Steele, whereas Lindy has 4 Pac-12. Both have 2 from the American. It's clear the American is the next conference up, and in the eyes of Phil Steele, it's equal to the Pac-12.
And I think in the eyes of a lot of college football observers, it is. If it's not equal, it's ground being gained by the American, and I think both Phil Steele and Lindy have Notre Dame a little low. I think they should be ranked better. One has Notre Dame. Phil Steele has Notre Dame
8.
At 8, and Lindy has them at 10.
And I know you think they're a top 4 team, right? Because you've got them in a playoff.
I'm gonna have them in the college football playoff with Ohio State, Clemson, Alabama, and Notre Dame. And Notre Dame probably won't be the 4 seed if one of those teams from those conferences, Big Ten, ACC, or SEC, loses a game but wins their conference. They will probably be the 4. I think 12-0 Notre Dame seals being the 3 seed. Well, because they're Notre Dame.
But here's the problem. And and you're right. If they were 12-0, there's a really good shot. But will they have it's sort of the same dilemma that the group of 5 has. What kind of schedule are you talking about? Because they've lost 4 games.
Wisconsin's a big loss for them.
They've lost 2 Big Ten teams and 2 Pac-12 teams. So who are they going to replace them with? They do have the Arkansas. But how good is Arkansas? I mean, is that going to be a barometer?
4-20 the last 2 years.
Right. So you're
19-game SEC
you're
losing
not
streak.
Getting any kind of boost from playing that.
Zip.
And they're playing Wake Forest, and although Wake Forest is under David Clawson, they've been a much better team. But where are they in this? I know they're in one of the polls.
I don't think in either.
I think they're in the top.
I didn't see them in
30. I think they're. They may have been in the top 35 in one of these polls that I saw.
Okay, but I didn't go out that far.
They're not 25. That's for sure. So you're talking about Arkansas, Wake Forest, Duke. I think is on their schedule. I don't have their schedule in front of me at the moment, but they've lost 4 games, and the 8 that they've got
lost some heft.
The 8 that they've got. I don't think it's enough to say this is a playoff team.
May not be. And then that will be really tough on the committee. And we're talking like we're going to have football. That would be really tough on the committee to sort that out.
Drew,
I just can't see Notre Dame being denied.
All right, let's go.
Do you want the remaining schedule?
Give that schedule.
All right.
Yes, thanks, Drew.
Remaining schedule, start the season off against Navy if that actually gets played. Arkansas, Western Michigan, Wake Forest, Pitt, Duke, Clemson, Georgia Tech, and Louisville.
So if they were to beat Clemson and Louisville, then maybe you can make a claim. Maybe.
They're in.
Maybe. But all those others, that means they'd have 2 big wins.
And that would make them the 3 and Clemson the 4, even winning the ACC.
Well,
if Bama and Ohio State ran out.
Right.
I don't know.
I don't know either. And Oklahoma's going to be
hard,
in that.
hard to pick.
I mean, Oklahoma.
Dave, really difficult to pick the games when we really don't know the schedule anymore.
And let's face it, Oklahoma will have some say they're 5, and they're
Drew and I
going
tried
to play a better schedule.
We picked the Tiger schedule while you were away, even not knowing really what it's going to be now.
So I know this. They will not lose at this point on September the 12th.
We didn't have them losing there anyway, did we, Drew?
No, we didn't. I had them at a solid 11-1.
Who's the one lost to?
I think it was at Cincy.
I had 10-2, and I went looking for 2 losses, and I found them against Cincy and one other road
UCF?
AAC. Yeah.
UCF is at home.
And that was just looking.
Oh, no.
Is it?
That's a home game, yeah.
But
SMU
there was
on the
one
road?
other.
I think SMU's on the road.
It might have been Central Florida, but I was looking for 2 losses. I don't know if I really believed it, but I was just looking for 2. Might amend it to 1, but it wasn't permanently etched in stone picks either, Dave.
Well, yeah, and they can avenge a loss. Let's say they lost to Cincinnati and then played them in the championship game, or UCF
Probably
beat
be there,
Cincy
though.
and they played them in the championship game, won that game. That would at least – I'm just looking for the New Year's Day 6. That's all I'm looking for. And
still very much alive for that.
And really, I think, 3 of the last 4 years or 4 out of the last 5 years, the American has had the New Year's Day bowl slot. Boise got in one time.
Yeah, and Boise's gonna. They're scheduled. Don't sweat Boise.
I hope not. There's some guys have Appalachian State up high, and you got to put them in that New Year's Day 6 mix. But normally, they're going to fall in some conference game on the road or something.
And as we mentioned with Laird, and just on the hopeful side, because we don't know, but if cases could go down, positivities go down, and of course fatalities, hospitalization, any of those numbers, any of those scoreboard numbers, and he said he's going to listen to the health people, and that's what you should do. Maybe it would, by then, local health officials would relax it to where 18, 20, 22,000 could go, and I think the numbers would get there and at least stave off Armageddon.
I'm just in my mind, if we got to 15 to 18,000 and we could play
I'll
the
take it.
games in 15 to 18, I think economically the Tigers can make it in this season, and you're not totally destroyed. This portion of the show is brought to you by the Spirit Shop. Weekend's over. I know you had a good time. It's hot. I bet you drank a lot of either beer or white wine. Got a refill. I make it easy for you right there at Poplar and St. Nick. It's 4848 Poplar, right down the street from Clark Tower. And by the way, it's that little log cabin you passed a million times. You might have wondered what's in there. You know now, because I've been talking about it for years. That's the place to go buy your spirits. That's the place to get the real deals on wine or accessories or bourbon or tequila or whatever you fancy. It could even be an accessory. Maybe you're looking for some spice to use as a rim on your glass. They've got it. They got chip dip. They got everything for a party. You want something associated with spirits, I promise you Eddie Conner will raise your spirits because he's got it, and he'll explain exactly what it's all about and how he got it and the history behind it. It's terrific. You want to look for the new wine that's an up-and-comer that you can say you got it when it first started? Eddie Conner will be happy to tell you that one too. It's personable service. All you got to do, now it's curbside because you know how tight it is in there. So they're doing it safely. You call in advance, make your order, give them your credit card, they'll bring it to your car. That's simple. Time to restock. The weekend is over. You want the best in spirits. You go to the Spirit Shop. We are back in a minute with a wrap of hour number 2 on this Monday of Sports Time on Sports 56.
R&R on Sports, Saturday mornings, 10 a.m., Sports 56, 87.7, and 96.1. Don't miss us.
Glad to announce the Rendezvous open for business 11A to 8P Tuesday through Saturday. World famous Rendezvous up and running. If you need some barbecue nachos, brisket, ribs, maybe a cheese and sausage plate, the Rendezvous back and open for dine-in, carry-out, and curbside. While not much changes in the alley basement, you will see a few small differences and additions. For now, open 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. Tuesday through Saturday. And they have desserts. Think key lime pie tarts, chocolate chess pie tarts. Spend some time downtown and visit our friends at the Rendezvous in the alley in downtown Memphis since 1948. All of the Vargas family thanks Memphis and the Mid-South so very much for your support during these times, and they're there for you, as always, in the alley in downtown Memphis. Mr. Charlie Vargas and family's famous restaurant, The Rendezvous.
Hi, I'm Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roofing. Can anyone explain to me why anyone would care how I measure your roof? We have all heard about measuring your roof from outer space. Well, to be honest, there are aerial pictures that are taken every 4 years that can be used to measure a building, but it's not from outer space. Besides, no one, and I mean no one, can tell you what's wrong with your roof or even if you need one by using pictures that might be 4 years old. If you would rather do business with a family-owned and operated business with a lifelong tie to Memphis that refuses to mislead or use gimmicks, please give me a call. Best products, best warranties, and the best customer service we know how to provide. Fiveash Roofing, proud partner of the Memphis Tigers and the official roofer of the Memphis Tigers home team. Fiveash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Fiveash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Introducing Peacock, the new free streaming service from NBC Universal. It's hit movies, current shows, and live sports. News clips, trending bits, and timeless hits. It's Kim and Courtney, Seth and Jimmy, Hoda, Savannah, Fiona, and Shrek. I'm an ogre! It's the best of streaming and the best of TV. And that's why you can't not watch. Peacock. Watch for free, upgrade for more. Stream now at peacocktv.com. These titles plus the English Premier League and Law & Order SVU streaming now. Content availability may vary over time. Some content requires paid upgrade.
Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Some more good news for the Tiger football team. Today, T.J. Carter was named to the Raycom Jim Thorpe Award watch list. That goes to annually the best defensive player, best defensive back in the country. And he's on the list with, I think, 39 others. So we got the receiver, we got the quarterback,
Coaxy.
we got the running back, now we got a defensive back. I mean, these are good times.
It's the playmakers.
Yeah,
it's the playmakers that have been assembled. I mean, and there's somebody that we don't even know that will emerge because there's a new one every year that becomes a star and a very familiar name in our area and across college football. And it's been that way now for 6 to 7 football seasons.
If we're looking for good news today, you've already said it. It is a great story. 0 positives out of 346 tested in the bubble. And this story coming out, the NFL and the players have reached an agreement on the testing aspect.
Yeah, I knew they would.
So here's the way it's going to work. Dr.
They had
Alan Sills, the league's chief medical officer, said the agreement between the NFL and the Players Association would require daily COVID testing for the first 2 weeks of training camp. After 2 weeks, if the positive test rate is below 5%, the league would scale back to testing every other day. If the test rate is not below 500, they will continue with daily testing until such a time as it falls below that number. And if they are disciplined, now, they're not going to be in a bubble like the NBA. NBA is showing the bubble can work. You couldn't do that in baseball, and you couldn't do that in football. The NBA,
but the NFL is going to do it all at the facilities, no off-site camps.
Right. That's right. And the only way this really works, I think, if you're doing this, the NHL's doing the same thing, is to really just do a play. I mean, I know the NBA added 8 games, but you can do this for the playoffs. You couldn't do this for a season. Just couldn't.
No. The NBA will look back and go, boy, I don't ever want to try that again if they complete it successfully. On Thursday, opening day of baseball, we will have our baseball picks. We will go division 1 through 5 in all the divisions. We'll have wild card games. We'll have ALDS, NLDS, ALCS, NLCS, AL and NL Manager of the Year, AL and NL MVPs, Cy Youngs, Rookies of the Year for each league. I want y'all to do me a favor. If something should happen to me between now and I put these picks out on the air, y'all categorically deny that these were really mine, because this is the sports equivalent. If somebody found this in my house of what they found in the Unabomber's cabin, they're so nuts.
Really?
Nuts.
Wow. As nuts as Mark the Bird Fidorich, who, by the way, it's happy anniversary for him today. He was such a joy to watch the 1 year.
Oh, that Monday night football or Monday night baseball performance in '76.
Yeah. Boy, and
the whole country, again, 4 channels, but 3 networks. The whole country was watching.
Oh, and the way he passed away is one of the worst things ever.
What was he trying to accomplish?
Well, he was wasn't he just like trying to change a tire and the jack gave
I think he was
way?
trying to change his oil or something, wasn't he? Or did the jack is dangerous.
Yeah, I think it gave way, and that's
That's why you have AAA. I'm not changing any flats.
Yeah, I'm with you. That.
But if anybody finds my picks,
AAA is one of the great deals of all time. If anybody finds your picks, we will deny that you made them. How's that?
Because, Dave,
you got the Cubs?
I have the Cardinals in next to last and the Cubs in last.
Oh, you're out of your mind. You're out of your mind. Don't you understand David Ross is the manager now? Come on. We are 2 hours in the books. When we come back, we will talk some NBA. We really haven't done that today except for the good news about 0 positives out of 346 tested in the bubble. We'll talk with Pete Prenica, who's going to work this week. He's doing the live scrimmages streaming, and we got games, and we'll see what his health is like and everything else he did not want to see the other day. Pete Prenica is next.
O'Reilly.
This is Derek's O'Reilly Auto Parts story.
After the third time jump-starting my car, I finally realized my battery was dying. So I stopped by O'Reilly to have it checked. They tested it right there in the parking lot. It was bad, real bad. But they helped me find the right battery for my car and even installed it for free. Now my car starts like new.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I Buy Houses, 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. I Buy Houses. I Buy Houses will buy a house in any area, in any condition, and yes, it's guaranteed to close in 5 days. If you need to sell your home quickly, call 901-406-1101. If you've been through a divorce, if you lost your job, if you're tired of renters, I Buy Houses can get you your money quickly. I Buy Houses will buy your home in Shelby County, DeSoto County, Memphis, Bartlett, South Haven, Horn Lake, Olive Branch, anywhere and everywhere in between in any condition. And yes, they're open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I Buy Houses, 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. Grab that pen, 901-406-1101. I Buy Houses.
I want to do some bragging rights. Hey, I was just the other day overhearing a conversation with Big Mike, the manager of DeSoto Auto Sales. They've got people buying cars all over the country. North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, Arkansas, Texas. People from all over the country buy cars at DeSoto Auto Sales in Olive Branch, Mississippi. Why? DeSoto Auto Sales has the most stringent car inspection in America. They get it right the first time. Quality and low mileage. Factory warranty on most vehicles. My favorite part is the people who work there. Big Mike, all the employees are professional, friendly, and go that extra mile. Expect as you walk in the door, you're treated like family. DeSoto Auto Sales understands your time matters. We can help you find your dream car and get all the paperwork finished in less than an hour. Come see us at DeSoto Auto Sales and be part of our family. Have a great buying experience every time. 662-890-7184.
No matter how you top it, you can't top Pizza Hut's best delivery deal. Large 3-topping pizzas for just $9.99. No one out-pizzas the Hut. Extra charge for some crust. Deal availability in delivery areas. Charges and minimums apply. Delivery charge not a tip.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, WIVG-FM Tunica Memphis, and WPG-FLP Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Welcome back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wallo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
Final hour on this Monday, on this very busy Monday, Pete Pranica, the great voice of the Memphis Grizzlies. He's set to join us after I tell you about DeSoto Auto Sales at 5704 Goodman Road. Go online and check out the many, many happy referrals and pleased customers at DeSotoAutoSales.com and look for you a car while you're on there. Not just read how happy they are. There are plenty of people happy, but also find that car that will make you happy at DeSotoAutoSales.com. 662-890-7184. Where all the cars are test driven, all checked out bumper to bumper, unlimited inventory, every make, every model, and no shortcuts taken. When you walk in, you're treated like family. Kind, courteous employees, laid back atmosphere, down home environment. They care about your time. They want you to have the ultimate car experience. What is that? They know we're living in a world today that time matters that way. That's why they want you to walk in, find the car you want, test drive that car, get credit approved, paperwork completed, and you're gone in less than an hour in time to do it over your busy lunch hour or immediately after work, like right now at DeSoto Auto Sales, 5704 Goodman Road, down in DeSoto County, 662-890-7184. Come on down to DeSoto County for that town and country experience that you will enjoy, and repeat after repeat customers, they've enjoyed it at DeSoto Auto Sales.
Pete Pranica has just been sitting around since March, nothing to do. All of a sudden, he's a busy guy between scrimmages, games coming up, and 901 FC. Pete Pranica, all of a sudden, you are crazy busy. I know that must feel really, really good. How are you?
I'm fine. Yes, it does feel real good to sit down at the computer for hours on end and be doing game prep and match prep. And, yeah, it's just And I'm so encouraged by the news coming out of Orlando today that there are 0 positive tests out of the bubble. They've been testing every day for the last week, and the bubble, at least in Orlando so far, is holding. So that's good news.
Yeah, we mentioned that last week. How I'm amazed and so pleased, but it really has been a winner. It has really worked when you consider there was a lot of risk and still is, but we haven't seen, other than when the teams first got together that I know of, that there'd been a COVID case. Now you're talking about 346 tests here, not one positive.
Yeah, and Brett will be happy to know that Notre Dame's been testing their football players, and they're coming up with very, very few positives. There are some.
Got those.
You got that, yeah. Yeah, I mean it's encouraging, but Adam Silver is very, very detail oriented. The NBA is very good at dotting I's and crossing T's, and they involved the CDC and enlisted a former Surgeon General, I believe, to come up with all these protocols to keep guys safe. Referees have been, I think, quarantined for 7 days. Media members quarantined for 7 days. Tests every day. They set up a process and set up a plan that on paper seemed to be pretty good, and at least in practice so far it has held up.
Pete, you're getting
Pete,
set.
It has, and what Adam Silver is trying to do, it's moving a mountain. It would have about the easiest thing would just take the financial hit right off the year and move on. He didn't. Some complained about the restart being this late. I for one thought maybe 3 weeks to a month sooner. Now I know I was wrong. They might need more time than they're using, but he is trying to pull off darn near the impossible.
Well, they wanted a long lead simply because the incubation period of the virus can be up to 14 days. So you really, really had to stretch the calendar to make sure that if you did have somebody test positive, that then they would have the opportunity to actually clear the virus from their system and be able to play, perhaps. So yeah, like I said, they relied on the science, they relied on the experts, and hopefully this will continue to be lots of good news. I mean, the basketball tournament in Columbus also had a very, very strong track record with I think less than 1% of positive tests. So if you do the right things and handle things the right way, you can get some events done.
We hope, and we hope that it stays that way. And all the way through, because now, you're in this protective bubble and everybody quarantined, but the next round, when they start the playoffs and they get to, the second round, and they invite families down there, that could be a whole different ballgame, right?
Could be, but I mean, they've talked about the protocols, and I think the family members are going to have to be quarantined too. So, they hopefully have anticipated every eventuality, and hopefully this thing goes all the way through to the NBA Finals in, hard to say it, October.
So, Pete, you are going to start with scrimmages, I guess, this week, right? Isn't that the first one, Thursday
yes.
or Friday?
Friday at 2:30. The Grizzlies will take on Philadelphia in a scrimmage. All 3 scrimmages will be streamed on Grizzlies.com. And then the Grizzlies will also have a scrimmage Sunday night at 7 o'clock against Houston. And then next Tuesday, an afternoon scrimmage against the Miami Heat at 1 o'clock. And like I said, all those will be available on Grizzlies.com.
I know you've done a lot of remote broadcasts. I think you did Olympics remote. You've done 901 FC remote, including last Saturday. So that is not new for you, but this is going to be so informal, these scrimmages, and I hear they're going to go down to 10-minute quarters. How tough will this be? How much information can you possibly get for a scrimmage?
Well, it's going to be a little bit easier because you're dealing with actual roster players. I've done 3 years of NBA Summer League, which really you're not calling. I mean, you're on site, obviously, but you're not calling the game so much as you're hosting a talk show. I did a game last year with Isaiah Thomas, and the Westbrook deal happened right in the middle of our game. And so we basically ignored the game and started doing a talk show. And during these scrimmages, Rob Fisher's going to be working with me, and other Grind City media personalities will sit in. And so it's not going to be necessarily a traditional play-by-play, but it might be a little bit more of almost like a talk show oriented, and just kind of reminding everybody who the Grizzlies are and what their strengths are, and just get everybody ready excitement-wise for the start of play for the Grizzlies on the 31st.
And y'all will, Pete. Y'all will tap into that. And then when those games start that Friday, man, they matter.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very, very short sprint, to the playoffs. Can the Grizzlies extend their lead beyond 3.5 games to 4.5 or more, and therefore avoid the playoff scenario, the play-in scenario, I should say. For those who are not familiar, the 8th and 9th seeds, if the distance between those two teams is 4 games or fewer, it's a 2-game play-in, and the 8th seed has to win just 1 game. The 9th seed would have to win 2 games in order to flip-flop positions. So, big game right out of the chute against Portland Trailblazers. Trailblazers lose that, they are in very, very serious trouble. And New Orleans, the question with New Orleans is, what about Zion? When is he going to be able to come back from the family emergency? So, early on, Grizzlies take care of business. Their final opponents are against Eastern teams that may already be locked into their seed and maybe resting players.
Well, the Zion thing is interesting because I believe that, and you said it earlier, Adam Silver is detail-oriented. They had protocol. If he left the bubble and was not tested every day, you're talking about a 10-day quarantine. And if he is tested every day, shows proof that he's not been positive, then there is a 4-day quarantine. Well, guess what? He's not back yet. He's still not in the bubble. And so, you've got to think. I know it's still a week and a half away, but you've got to think it's real iffy because that's the game too, right? It's Portland, and then you play New Orleans, and then you play, what is it, San Antonio?
I think San Antonio's second, and then New Orleans.
I mean, if you were to get by Portland to begin with, and then they don't have Zion, and, you guys are healthy for the first time maybe ever. You go 3-0, I don't see – I mean, the odds are really good that you don't even have to worry about playing stuff.
Right. Well, that's what I've said from day one since this competitive format was issued is just handle your business. You handle your business, you don't have to worry about anything else. And handling your business is beating the other teams. I mean, Sacramento suffers a big loss now. Marvin Bagley is injured.
Right.
So that and
so is Fox, right? Isn't De'Aaron Fox got a sprained ankle?
And so is De'Aaron Fox, yeah. So Sacramento is one that is within 3.5, but certainly could fall back given their injury situation. So, I mean, the Grizzlies sit in a real good spot because, as you point out, they're totally healthy. They're mentally they're in just a great frame of mind, and they're really ready to roll. So, hopefully that their performance on the court matches their mindset right now, which seems to be very, very positive, very upbeat.
Pete, I saw Kendrick Perkins today on NBA The Jump on ESPN afternoon programming right before we came on. He was making the case that he thought between Greg Popovich and how Young and kind of without LaMarcus Aldridge kind of get up and down the court summer league type mentality of just go out and try to flood the zone with offense, that the Spurs could be a team to make noise. Never mind taking somebody out with the Grizzlies. The Grizzlies could do that with their permanent cast of characters, couldn't they?
Yeah, I mean, the Grizzlies obviously have an opportunity to play some up and down and up-tempo basketball, and without LaMarcus Aldridge, DeMar DeRozan, I think, thrives in the half court. But you start talking about Lonnie Walker, you start talking about Derek White, Patty Mills can shoot lights out. So, they play a little bit more up-tempo and they don't have to feed LaMarcus Aldridge. It may open up the floor for them. But again, they're in a position of having to chase some teams down, and it's going to be a difficult situation for them. I mean, they can play faster, but LaMarcus Aldridge, along with DeRozan, are their two most viable scorers. And if you lose Aldridge, that still hurts. I understand that their style can change and be a little more un-Spurs-like, if you will. But, when you're missing a guy like LaMarcus Aldridge, still that
a lot of points.
Points are going to have to come from somewhere, yeah.
Well,
he said Rudy Gay could be the 5 in a Spurs setup.
Could be. I mean, Pop's not married to any one system. It's like, whatever gives us a chance to win, and if they're going to play small ball, that might be the way that they have to go without Aldridge.
I would like that would be playing in my mind into the Grizzlies' hands, which that's the system, the style of play that they are used to and they want to play. So I think I would welcome that. And, not that I want to take anything away from Greg Popovich, because we know he's one of the great coaches of all time, but that's trying to figure out something, and the Grizzlies already have something that's been figured out, and now you're healthier than you've ever been. So let's just assume that the starters are going to be John Morant, and they're going to be Valanciunas and Dylan Brooks and Jaren Jackson. Who's going to start at the small forward? Is it going to be Winslow? Is it going to be you'll go a little smaller with DeAnthony Melton, or is Anderson going to be your guy? How do you think they will play once we really get into these important games?
Well, clearly you have options, and wing depth is something that the Grizzlies are blessed with at this point. Not having had the opportunity, obviously, to see practices and see who's running with who, it's kind of hard to guess. Everything would be speculation on my part. I just like Kyle Anderson with the starting lineup because he doesn't need the basketball. You got a lot of other guys in that starting lineup that need the basketball. And if you were to put Justice Winslow in the starting lineup, he's a guy who can play on the ball. Maybe he becomes part of your second unit. Grizzlies' bench unit has been fantastic all year long, one of the best benches in the NBA. And Justice Winslow, I think, really, really would add to that. Could be a situation of matchups. Could be who you're playing on a given day or night, whether it's San Antonio going small or however. I just like Kyle Anderson because he knows how to play the game, and he's a guy who's been in the Spurs system, a guy who's played deep into the postseason. I just like having that experience out on the floor. And the Grizzlies, causation, maybe not, but Grizzlies had a really good record when Kyle was a starter.
And he loves this team. He loves this chemistry.
I think everybody loves his chemistry. I mean, yesterday Justice was doing, primal screams during his media availability saying how much he likes being around this group, and people who have been new to the group have been very impressed with their cohesion, with their positive spirit. For Justice Winslow to come in yesterday as he did during the media availability and say John Morant's the guy. Boy, that really is saying a lot from a guy who played at Duke, played high-level basketball, played for Pat Riley in Miami. For him to come in here and to say, man, I love this group, I love being around this group, and John Morant is the man, that's pretty high praise.
I'm more impressed, honestly, with Jaren Jackson. Because going into this year, even with the surprise 2-pick, and we knew Ja was going to be really good, nobody saw from the get-go that he would supplant Jaren Jackson Jr. as the guy that we thought was going to be the face of this team for the next 5, 7, 8 years, however long it lasts. And Jaren Jackson, to me, has accepted the fact that, he's going to be Robin to the Batman of Ja.
Right, and I think you have to know those personalities. And I don't know that Jaren was ever going to be totally comfortable being the alpha dog. I think just his personality, the way he approaches the game, I just think that, kind of like Pau Gasol, actually I'm going to go back to the Portland Trailblazers. When I was there in the late 1990s and early 2000s, they tried to make Rasheed Wallace the number one guy. Rasheed Wallace didn't want to be the number one guy. He wanted to be a complimentary guy, number two guy. And I think that Jaren is in that way where he is perfectly happy to be, not the alpha, and just happy to be with Ja. And Ja can be the Kobe Bryant type alpha player, which is something that the Grizzlies have not had. I don't know ever really to have one of those generational talents that has the alpha personality that Ja does. And I think that Jaren is very, very comfortable and very happy to say, Ja, you're the alpha, I'm your sidekick, and I think he's perfectly happy with it. They're really good friends off the court, and I think it's a synergy that's going to work well and pay benefits for this team.
Pete, when did you know John Morant was that good, that he could be a once-in-a-generational kind of guy, as you say, the alpha?
The dunk over Aaron Baines, probably.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? honestly, it goes back even earlier than that. Grizzlies are playing Brooklyn. Kyrie Irving is out there. And Taylor Jenkins says, I'm going to take you off Kyrie for a couple of possessions just to give you a break. And Josh says, no, I'm guarding Kyrie Irving all the way to the end. Blocks the shot that Kyrie Irving could have won the game for Brooklyn. Comes up with the crucial assist, the game-winning assist. Jay Crowder hits the three. But you look at the little subtle movement of Morant and what he does to kind of sort of set a soft screen so that Jay can actually get a good look at the rim. You're looking at that and like, okay, this is not your average rookie. And just to hear Ja talk and his ability to have total recall for a particular play and what all 10 players are doing at any given moment, that he can recall that, kind of like LeBron James, that early in the season, and go like, okay, this is really special.
Yeah. Yeah, and Pete, you couple that with the fun-loving, to be 20 esprit de corps. When he needs to be serious, he can be the alpha, and when he knows to have fun, because you should have fun playing, accomplishing something at the level he accomplishes it.
That's a really good point. I mean, he does have multiple sides to his personality. He's not all business, cold-blooded killer, and he's not all happy-go-lucky. He melds both of those, and I think that really, really helps this team because they know that there's a time to be serious and get work done. There's also a time to cut loose and have some fun.
I know this is also confusing because it seems like, that season was literally 4 months ago. But do we already view this as a successful season considering nobody thought this team would ever make the playoffs? They were talking about winning 22 games.
Yeah, I mean, if given where they are right now with a 3.5 game lead, if for some strange reason they end up not in the postseason, it's definitely going. That element of it would be a disappointment. But this team has progressed further than people anticipated. Very few people outside the real hardcore NBA people knew who Taylor Jenkins was. He has come out of the shadow of Mike Budenholzer, and he has been absolutely fantastic. He has done a great job of bringing this team together. He's brought that San Antonio element of caring about players beyond their status as a player, but as a person. He has been involved in the community. He's been great with the players. The players have responded to him. And Morant, not only his ability to be an alpha, to be a leader, but to also have a group of guys that is willing to follow him. You can have a leader, but if you don't have followers or guys that are willing to follow the leader, you're not going to go very far. And the Grizzlies front office has done a tremendous job of bringing quality guys in, and a couple of later season acquisitions that a lot of people, everybody's talking about Justice Winslow, and rightly so. Mm-hmm. Gorgie Jang, total pro. Anthony Tolliver, total pro. So to this young core with Ja and Jaren and Brandon Clark and Anthony Melton, for that matter, now you bring in some seasoned veterans, and it's a very, very good mix. And the season has been a very, very pleasant surprise. You just would like to see them pay it off with a playoff appearance.
Pete, we all do. We all appreciate Mike Conley and what he did here. But aren't we kind of maybe on our way in our Memphis basketball life, on our way with Ja of having the very, very best of Mike Conley and some of those things we wished Mike Conley would have been?
Yeah, that's a good point, Spats. I mean, Mike was a good leader, but he was a quiet leader and flew under the radar. And I think sometimes to his detriment, particularly when it came to name the All-Star reserves, you're not going to overlook
calls.
Ja Morant. Yeah. I mean, you're not going to overlook Ja Morant. I don't think there's any way that anybody's going to do that. So, yeah, you're looking at, I think, in Ja Morant, a guy who's going to be to the All-Star game several times, maybe many times. Who knows? And certainly now with the announcement that the Rookie of the Year and all the awards are going to be voted on games played through March 11th and not including the Orlando bubble, I don't think there's any question that Ja is going to be your Rookie of the Year.
Has to be. That would be a travesty if they didn't. Heck, I don't believe that the Pelicans were over 500 when Zion came back. So
it would be the worst travesty since we didn't get the Rock and Roll Museum to Cleveland.
Exactly.
There's no question. I don't think that you could vote against Ja for Rookie of the Year. I mean, some people will obviously, but he should be without a doubt. I mean, Zion's body of work is fairly.
It's
small.
unanimous. He is.
Yeah.
At least here. Last thing for Pete Pranica, voice of the Memphis Grizzlies on TV and streaming this week, and that is this came to my mind when you started talking about Mike Conley, and most people are really, really excited about that game. First with Portland, but really the matchup with the Pelicans and the game on ESPN and everything that will go with that in the bubble. I'm really kind of looking forward to the Toronto game just to see what it will be like, even though it's nothing like the team that he was on with the Grizz. But just the fact that he's going to be taken on the Grizz, I think that's intriguing.
Oh, you mean with Marc Gasol?
Yeah, I mean Marc Gasol. If I didn't say it, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's going to be fun, and it looks like Mark has really lost a lot of weight. So I'll be interested to see what his game looks like. It was nice of him to make sure that he took his Nespresso machine with him into the bubble, among other things. So yeah, that's going to be a very, very entertaining game. I love watching Kyle Lowry play, and I'm looking forward to, for the first time, have Marc Gasol face his old team. That will be intriguing. Remains to be seen what it will mean to both teams at that point in time, because we'll be fairly deep into the 8 seeding games. But it'll be good to see Mark. Unfortunately, we'll be watching him on a monitor, but you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, well, you watched on the monitor when Cal Jennings tied that thing up in extra time the other night, which was a reversal of all those games that the 901 FC lost last year. So maybe this kid, he's from UCF. I think he might have been the American Player of the Year.
He was. Indeed he was, yeah.
How about that? So, man, maybe they're off onto a new thing, and we're going to have people for that game on Saturday. It's all good stuff. Thank you, Pete. We appreciate it. I know you're going to be busy from here on out.
All right.
Take care,
guys. Thanks for having me. Stay safe.
Pete Pranica, voice on TV of the Grizzlies. He's brought to you in part by Supercuts, and you know what? It is so good to have Supercuts back with us. They were wonderful sponsors for several years here, and then, of course, all the salons got shut down, and they're back, and, of course, so is Supercuts. And they are a locally owned hair salon business. Nothing is more important to them than the health and safety of their team and, of course, the Memphis community. All Memphis area Supercut salons are now open. They are seeing clients, all with the Safe Salon commitment in place. Our Safe Salon commitment was developed in partnership with the top infectious disease doctors to maximize safety and sanitization in all of the Supercut salons, which means when you're ready for a haircut, they'll be ready, they'll be prepared, they'll be safe to see you. Learn more about the Safe Salon commitment and prepare for your visit at supercuts.com. Back in a minute, halfway home in hour number 3 of the Monday edition of Sports Time on Sports 56.
Take Sports 56 with you on your phone or tablet. Download our official Sports 56 app today.
Hey, what do you want to da-da-da? I don't know. What do y'all think we should da-da-da? Well, what did we da yesterday? Yesterday. All the days feel like the same day these days. I know. Like, is today Monday or Tuesday? Today is Thursday. Oh, no, I forgot to call my mom on her birthday. Oh, no. No.
These days, nothing is normal and everything is weird. But you could still save big when you switch to Progressive. That won't change. Not today or any day.
Quote today at Progressive.com.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Hi, this is John Conway with Conway Services. Have you noticed your air conditioning system struggling to keep up this summer? It may just need a tune-up. Good news, it's super tune-up time at Conway Services. We'll come out and perform our exclusive 16-point Energy Saver Super Tune-Up on your air conditioning system for only $69 with a free on-leak check. That's right, Conway Services exclusive 16-point Energy Saver Super Tune-Up for only $69 with a Freon leak check. We'll remove years of dirt, grime, and leaves from your air conditioning system. It's like taking your air conditioner to a car wash, all for only $69. If you have an air conditioner that leaks Freon every year, with Conway Services Super Tune-Up, we'll include a free leak check. If that's not enough, we'll treat your unit with a special Teflon coating to help protect against the hot Memphis sun. So call Conway Services, the Mid-South's premier heating, cooling, plumbing, and electric service company at 384-3511. And call this week, and we'll do your super tune-up for only $57.
Call 384-3511. Conway Services. Call Conway today.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, U.S. Tax Shield can help you take back control. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Our team of tax attorneys can stop collections and get you protected. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the BBB, so call 800-466-9625. U.S. Tax Shield, 800-466-9625.
Jay Farner here, CEO of Rocket Mortgage. Making the right financial decisions has never been more important. When you turn to Rocket Mortgage, we can help guide you to those right decisions now, when they matter most. Mortgage rates are near historic lows, so now is a great time to call 8338-ROCKET. And if you need some extra money, a cash-out refinance could give you that financial boost you're looking for. Call today at 8338-ROCKET or go to rocketmortgage.com to learn more.
Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030.
I want to do some bragging rights. Hey, I was just the other day overhearing a conversation with Big Mike, the manager of DeSoto Auto Sales. They've got people buying cars all over the country. North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, Arkansas, Texas. People from all over the country buy cars at DeSoto Auto Sales in Olive Branch, Mississippi. Why? DeSoto Auto Sales has the most stringent car inspection in America. They get it right the first time. Quality and low mileage. Factory warranty on most vehicles. My favorite part is the people who work there. Big Mike, all the employees are professional, friendly, and go that extra mile. Expect as you walk in the door, you're treated like family. DeSoto Auto Sales understands your time matters. We can help you find your dream car and get all the paperwork finished in less than an hour. Come see us at DeSoto Auto Sales and be part of our family. Have a great buying experience every time. 662-890-7184.
Hi, this is Rob Brown. Join Pete Cordelli and me for Sidelines, Saturday mornings, 8 to 10 a.m. on Sports 56, 87.7, and 96.1 FM. We'll cover the Memphis Tigers, the SEC, recruiting. Hey, if they keep score, we're covering it. Check us out on the website at sports56whbq.com and sidelines.live. Sidelines is brought to you by Duncan Williams Asset Management. Saturday mornings, 8 to 10 a.m. Get up and give us a call.
Welcome back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wallo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
Nice to have you back in. Wallo and Stats with you. Don't forget, tomorrow, 5:30 in this time slot, Penny Hardaway will join us. Wednesday, we got baseball we'll be talking about with the voice of the Washington Nationals, one of the best baseball announcers there is out there, in my opinion. That is Bob Carpenter, and we will get into a whole bunch of stuff, and we're going to make our picks in the next couple of days. The interesting thing is I want you to zero in on this. You got to pick where the Toronto Blue Jays are going to play. If you can figure that one out, you're
good question.
A step up on them. This portion of the show.
And Dave, now they say Buffalo even shaky over the lighting there.
Yeah.
The lighting not adequate enough for – I mean, couldn't we have checked out the Buffalo lights like 8 weeks ago?
Can't they cough up a little bit of extra bucks and put a few more bulbs in there and figure that out? Or
and the Jays don't have a –
Spring
and the Jays don't have a home game in this first tranche of games, so let's trying to ramp up the lighting in Buffalo. Come on, I know it's easy to second guess, but some of these things, we've had 4 months. Maybe we need to be checking on the lights in Buffalo if that's plan B.
Well, then I did hear they were considering going to their spring training site. I don't know what happened to that. Now they're talking to the Pirates about sharing their ballpark and some other teams about sharing their ballpark.
Not a terrible idea. Not a terrible idea. The sharing, I think that's a better idea than going into the hot spot of Dunedin, and that's a single A by day ballpark.
Right. This portion of the show brought to you by the Butcher Shop. A guy went to the Butcher Shop's Hamburger Friday for the first time, and he called me and said, holy smoke, I can't believe a hamburger could taste this good. They do that every Friday. Now they got a Sunday lunch, too, where you can get a strip, and that's my favorite steak at the Butcher Shop. In fact, I buy my meat from them and cook their strip steaks. I like them so much. They got a filet. They got a prime rib. They got fried chicken, 4 pieces that you get if you want to go and do the Sunday lunch. They got a kids' entree after church. You can't beat it. The Butcher Shop, known for so many things, including all kinds of banquets. You know how many rooms they have there? Can't wait for when we get to the point where we can have those big events again.
And we will.
They are doing right now curbside pickup or dine-in lunch and dinner, that lunch on Sunday, at the Butcher Shop.
Hey, Drew, tell me all about your steak off Dave's Grill from the Butcher Shop over by Dave's Pool. How was it?
Oh, phenomenal.
That's right.
Oh, you've been, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think we –
y'all went after golf Saturday.
Oh, yeah. Went over back to the Wolo Mansion, had a steak and whiskey.
I think
he paid his bet.
I think I opened up. Didn't you have some of that Silver Oak that we got from the Spirit Shop?
Oh, phenomenal.
Yeah.
I just want a steak and a Coca-Cola. Never had my invite. Anyway, well, I know how it is, though, Dave. I know how it is. Well, maybe after I'm right on Cubs in 5th and Cardinals in 4th in the National League Central, and the real debate was which one to put in the 5 spot. When you think about the Cardinals, seriously, think about all the guys that are historically really slow to the first June out of the gate. Paul Goldschmidt, Matt Carpenter, Dexter Fowler, Paul DeYoung. Yadier Molina usually starts fast, and the grind of catching all those days really gets to him. So I just named 4, and you're counting on a rookie in Dylan Carlson that's never faced big league pitching.
Well, you know, the young guys like Anthony Rizzo, guys like Bryant, they're young. They'll be quick to get ready and go. So
are they that young anymore?
No, they're not.
Cubs have all of a sudden not young.
No, and I was joking earlier. The fact that Theo brought in David Ross, okay, that's an experiment. I'm willing to try it. But the way they let the mad scientist go, that just was wrong, in my opinion.
It was. And there are other Cub. They have some historical slow starters too, but for both Cardinals and the Cubs, they'll try to have the pitching. Look, hey everybody, the all-new 2020 Silverados, they're on the lot in Olive Branch at All-Star Chevrolet, where all the Chevys are, Blazers, Equinox, Impalas, Camaros, and the all-new 2021. Here's the 2021, the new Tahoe. All the rows and rows and rows are at All-Star. They've delivered for Chevy's huge open road sale, up to 15% off, thousands in cash for you. Check out the certified pre-owned Chevys. If you want a specific pre-owned car or truck, tell them what you want. They'll find it. They'll get it to All-Star. They'll get it there fast. Best financing for everybody. No matter what Chevy you're looking for, they've got it at All-Star. We're making sure everyone is safe while you get the best deal, have fun, and do it in record time. That's job number 1. You can't beat All-Star. Remember, it's not South Haven. It's not Collierville. It's not Mount Moriah. It's not the Pike. It's got to be Olive Branch. See them all online at allstarautogroup.com or find new roads to All-Star Chevy on Kraft Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Let's just get to Thursday night and have those 2 games, and that'll feel like a win. And I don't want to pick at Buster Olney, Dave. I don't. I really don't. But he did say 5% chance the season starts, 0 it finishes. If we're sitting here a week from today and we've gotten through the first weekend, he's missed by a mile.
Well, he's missed by a mile, and he's way off on the 5%. But I I hope he's
he better
way,
rally
I
on the
hope-
zero.
I hope he's way off on the zero, but I have my doubts, and the doubts are very clear. The doubts are we're not in a bubble for this. The doubts are that all these baseball players are going to go home to their wives and their families and their cousins and their aunts and their uncles, and they're going to go
And
on
if there's one super spreader among them,
they're going to go on airplanes. They're going to be eating in restaurants on the road. They're going to be going to hotels. I know they're going out of their way with sanitation. This is not like that bubble in Orlando. It's not like they're going to have the bubble for the NHL. This is where the real world will meet. Now, right now, they've been pretty well sequestered in their little ballparks and training facilities. But when they start really traveling, everything could really change, and I don't
so
know.
on the road,
what
they're
the
going to be
answer is.
allowed to go to restaurants. I can't
Well, they
believe
gotta
they
eat.
wouldn't have. Well, you could have dining facilities set up at the team hotel.
You could, but that's you're still going to go to their restaurant to eat. Now maybe it'll be closed off for them, but the food's going to be served by servers.
But baseball players just out rolling around on the town. What could go wrong there?
Yeah, right. Hey,
like everything.
Have you seen the newest CBS mock draft on Sportsline? The newest
I have
one.
not.
Well, I don't get this one's Kyle Boone is doing this one. Sometimes Gary Parrish does it. Sometimes they got a bunch of different guys, and they're all got their own opinions. But I've
David does
seen,
it sometimes too, doesn't he?
He might. I'm not sure that I've seen him do the mock draft, but he might. I'm not sure. But I know this. It's between all these different mocks, everything changes. I've seen James Wiseman as low as 6 or 7. And James Wiseman in this one by Kyle Boone is the number 1 pick of Golden State, of course, if they get that pick.
Well, I agree with Mr. Boone. If you can get James Wiseman at 6, you ought to be arrested in every state for grand theft.
Yeah. I would pick him number 1. I am not a believer in
doubt.
everybody.
Not a doubt. I'd take him 1.
Me too.
And I wouldn't let Precious hang out there more than about 12 to 15, 18 spots
and I think
if that fits a need.
That's about right. But I don't get, and I watched the guy in person and I watched him 5 or 6 times on TV. I don't
Georgia
get
player.
this infatuation with Anthony Edwards. I really don't.
I didn't either, Dave. I didn't in person, and I don't know how many times I watched him play a lot, and do a lot.
He's
good.
6'5". He's a
real
shooting
good.
guard. He's got a good body, but it's not like he's that much of a upside guy that I see because
I'd
he's
take
6'5".
James Wiseman over him in a second.
Oh my goodness, I would take LaMelo Ball over him.
As far as Anthony Edwards goes, is it too critical to say he's maybe like a discount Zion with the way his body is and how he kind of plays?
Well, he only weighs 225. He doesn't weigh 300 pounds like Zion.
I just don't think he's the scrapper that Zion is. I just don't think he's the brute.
He can't. He's not a good shooter. He's streaky. He can get on.
Georgia
he can get on a
Georgia
few
won that
streaks.
day really without him. He didn't do that much against the Tigers.
Memphis gave that game away. I hate to say it, but they did. I don't know where. Let's see where they. I'm trying to look to see where they've got Precious.
17,
and that's about right. That really is Precious. He kept getting better as the year went on, and I've said this before, and I don't mean any disrespect. It's amazing to me. Cole Anthony slipped all the way in this to 14. I bet you Cole Anthony will go higher than that. Now he was injured. I think he's a player. I like his upside better than I like Anthony Edwards.
I think I do too. 17 for Precious to whom?
Boston, and that would be a great place for him to go.
That
would be
so great.
An incredible place for him to go. Now, here's the thing. I've said this before. The one beneficiary to the loss of James Wiseman was Precious Achiuwa, because I honestly,
he made the most of it too.
I'm telling you right now, I think Precious Achiuwa would be a Tiger this year if James Wiseman had stayed, and no one would know what this kid could do. Because all those rebounds.
Boy, it's going to be a heck of a 30 for 30 on James Wiseman. Drew, I told you to go opening night.
I had to work. I got stuck here. It's not my fault.
And
if he would have played in a single expedition game that I went to both of them, then I would have gotten to see him.
I am really sorry that you did not get that chance to see him. I mean, he would have been so dominating. Memphis would not have. What were they, 10-8 in the conference, Brett? Isn't that right?
Yes.
There's no way they're 10-8 in that conference. They lose maybe 2 or 3 games.
14-4 at worst.
At worst.
At worst.
At
yeah.
worst.
15-3. Yeah.
But no
about,
one
about
would
what
have
we
known.
had in the predictions.
No one would have.
I don't think they lose to ECU with James Wiseman.
Oh no, Precious Achua. No one would have been able to really see how he could run the floor and rebound.
I'm sorry, not ECU. USF.
Yeah. Oh yeah, USF. That was another game that was so weird. And we've had weird games with USF the last couple of years. Even in the
some of the wins. The win down there was weird.
How about the loss there the year before when
very weird.
What was the score at the half? Memphis was down 30 points or 40 points. Remember that?
It was out of the gate, just a haymaker.
And then Jeremiah Martin
and then
scored
here comes
40 points in the second half. I mean, that was the weirdest ever.
In a Marcus Moody type performance.
But so people would have known, I think, from this year that Precious Achua, one of, I think, the reasons that people will love him is that he can defend so many positions. That's what I love about Precious. But they would never have known about the motor or his ability to rebound if James Wiseman
in the
played.
open floor.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he really showcased himself, and he's going to reap the benefits of it. For LaMelo Ball, as insufferable as LeVar can be.
But you know what? It seems like
his boys have made it, haven't they?
His boys have made it, and it seems to me, LeVar and LaMelo.
He's done a good job, hasn't he?
The middle kid, I don't think quite has it. But I think they've kind of distanced themselves. I think LeVar was smart enough to go, you know what? I'm not helping these guys. He started his own show company, thought that was going to be the ticket. Well, that didn't make it. And then there was so much negativity surrounding him. I think, he probably listened to enough smart people, and they just said, your sons are really good.
Back away a little bit.
Why don't you just be a dad and let them be themselves, and they'll figure it out, and that's what's happened.
Who do they have LaMelo going to?
To the Timberwolves, which is where really good players go to die, it seems.
Sure have. And you're going to freeze to death.
Well, they have those skyways. You don't have to ever walk outside in the middle of winter.
I never walked in one. I was outside the whole time at the Super Bowl.
Are you
I never
kidding
got in the
me?
Skyway.
Oh, my Lord.
Never did.
In the many times that I have been there doing stuff,
oh, man.
I always use those skyways.
I learned on that trip. Do you realize the Wild, they do not play in Minneapolis. They play in the arena at St. Paul where Media Night was, right by the Minnesota State Capitol, and it's beautiful.
Oh, really? When I had been there the few times, they always played in the Target Center, which was in Minneapolis. I once did
the Wild's
I did
not
an
there anymore.
NCAA wrestling championship on ESPN in that building. What a beautiful building.
Anybody come out with brass knucks?
No.
Anybody throw fire at the NCAA wrestling?
No chains?
No.
That ain't wrestling, Dave.
That's
that ain't real.
That's the real deal, folks. That's the real
What'd
deal.
you go to? What was that stuff you went to?
He went to a pillow fight.
No, that's called the
really
NCAA
some old janky pillow fight you went to.
Collegiate Wrestling Championship.
Who was your analyst? Do you remember?
Yeah. It was the guy who won couple of gold medals, and he was really great. Jeff.
Give me a name. I'm ready.
Jeff Beelum, I believe it is. Oh, my gosh. I can't believe I can't remember.
Not akin to Brett Beelum,
No. He passed away a couple of years ago from testicular cancer.
Sorry. See, trying to be a wise guy. Look what I did. I'm sorry.
No, but
Golly, I feel bad.
He won a couple of gold medals. He was a big story for one of the Olympic Games. NBC did a big deal on him, and he was out saying that dude stayed up with me till 4 o'clock in the morning going over personnel and explaining stuff to me.
Did y'all stand in front of the desk and anybody come out and you interview him like Lance and Dave would on The Real Wrestling?
No, but now I'm going to have to in this break. This is terrible, but I'm going to have to.
I feel bad enough.
I'm going to have to figure out who the great wrestler who he was. Man, now this is.
I feel terrible.
Going to be
throw it to break. I feel terrible.
So I tried to. How about this? I tried to Google great wrestlers, and what do I get? I get the 30 greatest
Jackie
pro
Fargo
wrestlers of all time. The Undertaker.
You got
Hulk Hogan,
Bearcat
Steve.
Brown. Roughhouse Fargo.
I'll have that answer when we come back. Hey, speaking of back, I got to let you know our good friends from The Eflin Insurance Group are back. A couple of years, about a half year ago. What a combination. What a great team. Brett Linder and Matt Eflin combined, and now the Eflin Insurance Group, well, they've got an access to a multitude of A-rated carriers that are just, well, they're determined by AM Best as the best. Locally owned and operated, they have been serving the Memphis area since 1955. They got over 300 years of combined insurance experience when you talk about their families. They specialize in home, auto, umbrella, and small to mid-sized commercial accounts. They are a service-first agency. Basically, they treat your family like their family, and they are families altogether. You want to know how you get there? All you got to do is go 757-2315, or if you're a Tiger fan, they got a special number for you, 386-GRR, G-R-R-R, that's 4777. So it's 757-2315 or 386-4777. Whether it's business or personal, the Eflin Insurance Group will take care of you. Back with Crunch Time in just a minute. This is Sports Time on Sports 56.
Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy get you through the midday with Sports 56 Middays. Delivered by FedEx. Weekdays from 10 till 1 on Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Chris Price here for Brian Elder Roofing. The storms we've had over the past several months have been devastating to our communities. The rainy season is ahead. You may have not even noticed the dripping in your attic, water stains throughout your home, or even worse, mold and mildew. Please call Brian Elder Roofing and we will send out our project managers to assess any damage. We will not try to sell you a roof if all you need is a repair. We will measure your roof from outer space. 0% for 60 months, even no payments till 2022 are available with approved credit. If you've noticed missing shingles, water stains, leaks in your roof, call us before you call your insurance company at 867-0303. That's 867-0303, and we will provide a free, thorough inspection of your roof's condition.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
If you're going on vacation, making a college campus visit, or if business takes you out of town, there's just no better place to board your dog than Barks and Recreation, 965 Ruddock Cove between Bud Davis Cadillac and the Blue Plate Cafe in East Memphis. Boarding, daycare, grooming, we have the best of everything at Barks. Indoor-outdoor kennels so your family member can go in and out as they please. Indoor and outdoor play areas. 4 walks a day. Group play and individual attention from the best staff in the Mid-South, which includes an overnight staff to ensure the safety and comfort of your pet 24 hours a day. All reasons to choose Barks and Recreation above all other boarding and daycare facilities. BarksDaycare.com or 509-0909. Check us out and make your reservations now at BarksDaycare.com. If your dog could speak, he'd say Barks.
Blood and plasma donations are more important than ever. People all around the world still depend on the medicine your plasma helps make. That's why Interstate Blood Bank and Plasma Biological Services are open and will remain open for our donors. The United States government has declared blood and plasma donation as a critical infrastructure industry. That means healthy donors are allowed to travel to and from donation centers regardless of any stay-at-home mandates in your area. We need you to keep donating so that we can continue to manufacture these life-saving medicines. We understand that you may be concerned about COVID-19. The health and safety of our donors and our employees remain a top priority. To limit the spread of the virus, we're taking additional measures to ensure our centers are safe and clean. Donating now is more important than ever, but please do not come to the center to donate if you are not feeling well or have a sore throat, fever, cough, or shortness of breath. We are doing our part so that you can do yours. Come donate today at one of our IBBI or PBS locations across the Memphis area.
Welcome back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wallo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
So the answer to the analysts of those NCAA, I did 2 or 3 of those wrestling championships on ESPN. The analyst, who was a great guy and an Olympic medalist, was Jeff Balatnik, who had overcome testicular cancer, and then I think a recurrence of it finally got him to way too young an age. Final portion of the show brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai in Olive Branch. You get on Lamar, it's Highway 78 at State Line Road. You turn left at Exit 1. That's Craft Road, and you will find lifetime limited powertrain warranties on all the new vehicles. And I got to tell you, the 2021 models have started to arrive, but you might want some of those 20s. The Tucson, ranked the #1 2020 compact SUV for initial quality. That's from J.D. Power. The Veloster, ranked the compact sporty car for initial quality. #1, according to J.D. Power. If you like pre-owned cars, and if it's a certified one, it's got to be a Hyundai. They get powertrain warranties up to 100,000 miles on those too. This is the place you go for the best service around. I'm telling you, they are the standard for the way car business should be done. Go see my guys at Homer Skelton Hyundai and Genesis of Olive Branch. It's crunch time.
This is for all the biggest crunch time. You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that?
We'll take questions again for the student athletes at this time, please.
What's happening, big dog? How you doing?
Is this thing working? It's obviously crunch time.
Hammer, nail, coffin. This baby is over.
Woo! Woo! Time for Taco Bell Crunch Time. Taco Bell, home of the crispy tortilla chips, topped with a double portion of either seasoned beef or shredded chicken, plus refried beans, nacho cheese sauce, reduced fat sour cream, guacamole, and a 3-cheese blend. Nachos Bel Grande, heaping portion of chips, topped with ground beef, tomatoes, beans, nacho cheese sauce, and a dollop of sour cream. Taco Bell, home to great food you get on your way home real fast, and they bring you crunch time every day. Learned today, Dave, and I did the math, even though you've been great today on the math portion of the show. I did the math. The 6 winners on tour this year, average age, 28 and a half years old. The old man of the group, Dustin Johnson, at 36. He's 2 years older than Webb Simpson. And then 23, 25, 26, 27. I promise you, the average, 28.5.
What, Morikawa was, 23, and Rahm is 25?
23.
Is Rahm 25?
Correct.
Wow.
Rahm 25, DeChambeau 26, Berger 27.
How about this? No one is going to dominate, right? I mean, we've had 6 tournaments, 6 winners. Nobody has come close to repeating. Learned today, T.J. Carter, Jim Thorpe, a watch list. So the U of M really is getting all these preseason looks, and I love that for this program. Also, I love the fact that of 346 tests in the bubble, not one positive corona test in Orlando. That protective bubble is so far showing us that if you do things the right way, it can work.
Could have done without the super slow-mo, high-def 480i Konica Minolta swing hub hi-fi super-duper Hubble telescope made by Apollo camera. It's just way too much. Come on, golf. Keep it simple.
I think they should adopt. I said this before. They should adopt a way to do this where you can see the close-up of the ball, and then when they go to address it, pan out so you can't see stuff. Like if you see a rule that's
we're
broken,
not trying to break down the Genome Project.
You got to do it. I guess the thing I could have done without today was Blue Jays. Not going to be able to play in Canada.
Homeless.
And also
Fanless and homeless.
The news that the Bahamas is being closed to U.S. tourists. If that holds up, no Atlantis for me.
Not good. Keeping a close eye on a lot tonight. T-minus about 72 hours for liftoff for the 2020 baseball season. We shall see. I hope we have it. I hope we get it right. 1 week till the golf world will be in Memphis. A week from now, and commitments coming in. This week, will we find out about Tiger? We will. We'll find out one way or the other.
Well, we found out today about the #1 in the world. That is John Rahm. Ted Butler, David Cobb, and Pete Prenica, we thank you for being on. Don't forget, tomorrow, 5:30, we will have Penny Hardaway on. That'll do it for us. Have a great night, everybody.
Hi, I'm Troy Fivesh, owner of Fivesh